Hello and welcome to Snowskate Overlords, the most authoritative podcast in snowskating. I'm Eric Frick here with Andrew Nelson and Zach Boyal Warden. And today, a Wet Sox alumni, Matt Plays. Matt Plays, what's going on, bud?
What's up, dude? How we doing?
Doing good, man. How are you doing? How's your winter gone so far?
Doing what I can. Feeling pretty good. We're getting snow right now. Plows are cruising by, but yeah, should be good.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. Have you guys gotten a lot of snow this winter?
We had a little spell of it, and I got out a bit just like messing around in the woods, but then it kind of got warm again, and it's been a few weeks without. So this new batch should be pretty good for us.
For sure. And the question everybody wants answered, have you been snow skating this winter, Matt?
A little bit, not a ton. It's been a weird winter for sure. I haven't been filming, just kind of doing it for myself, but yeah, totally.
For sure. That's fun. I mean, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would like to, don't get me wrong, as soon as we can, and it'd be rad to get some clips, especially to get a few up on Instagram or something and get the immediate love, which would be fun. But
definitely. I speak for everyone. I said it on Wet Sox and I'll say it again. Everyone wants to see it, Matt. We want to see more Matt Plays footy.
I got you. I actually feel as sharp as ever skating wise. So it would actually be pretty fun to kind of put it to the test on a snow skate. I think I could still hold my own. I'm not worried about it.
Sick. Yeah. You were saying when we were doing the,
don't call it a comeback.
I love it. Yeah. We were saying before we started recording the podcast that you've been skating a lot this summer too.
Yeah. Actually so I just moved over the summer, and that was kind of one of my saving graces too, is just linking up with another designer friend who I met at a few poster shows and art shows and stuff. And we kind of realized that we both skated. And when he heard I moved back, he was like, oh, we should get together and have a session. And we did, and thought it was going to be one random session, meet up with a homie or whatever. And it ended up being all right, how about next week? And then we'd end that session and be like, all right, let's go here. So we would go to Connecticut and try to different parks around Mass and just try to get around. And it kind of worked out. We skated a bunch, and I think the novelty of parks, I hadn't been skating new parks all the time. I've been skating the go-to hometown park, which in Burlington was a dope park. But now going to a new park and finding new lines and getting fired up everywhere you went was pretty cool. So I feel like I got good at learning new stuff and adapting, which was tight. So I feel pretty good.
Yeah, that's super cool. And it'll be super nice to have that community vibe and be able to go out and have a session with friends and whatnot, especially during, a year like this when it's more important than ever.
Yeah. We were doing the early bird sessions too, getting up at 7 a.m. on a Sunday or whatever, meeting there. And it was cool. Get there with your coffee. No one's there, maybe a couple scooter kids, but
it's the best time to skate. I swear by it.
Time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Even in non-pandemic times, that is the best time to skate. Zach, I know you disagree with me, but
it's the best time. I just can't do it. I agree. It's probably the best time because you get the park to yourself, and I respect those who can. But when Eric's waking me up at that time, trying to get me to the park and putting a beer by my head while I'm still in bed, I just don't need that.
I think
you do need that, Zach.
Yeah.
No, Matt, you've always been a morning sesh kind of guy.
That's true.
Hey, true.
It's true. Yeah. I'm an early bird. I have always been early to bed, early to rise. But yeah, the skate parks early in the morning is kind of a new program, and I'm here for it. But yeah.
Well, now that you bought the house that we're viewing behind you, congrats, Matt.
Oh, thanks,
hopefully you have a nice backyard where you can set up a little park, and maybe we'll see Morning Edit version number 3 soon.
Yeah, I'd love to. I think that's a pretty likely candidate for what I could do, because for me, it's who could film me well. So when I can film myself in that Morning Edit style, it could work for us. So, and I'm close to Icon, so I haven't built anything here. I was thinking how am I going to come up with a good excuse for why I don't have anything built in the backyard? But I think the good excuse is that Icon's 25 minutes away, 20 minutes away. So it's why bother when you have a double set and stuff nearby?
For sure. And is the yard that you have at the house that you're at now conducive to skating? Is it downhill, or is it just flat?
Yeah, there's like a little hill. It's not like so good. Obviously, it's bad enough that I haven't done anything, but it's like it's possible. I've got some 2x4s from some home reno projects that I'll probably make into something. One of the rails that I keep at my dad's, I kind of want to bring here because it's just one of my favorite, like just perfect round rail, and like I think it'd be fun to have here and set up. I don't know like how closely anybody could ever notice, but in all my parts and stuff, I always kept a park at my mom's house, which is where I grew up, basically my childhood home, and we had stuff at Icon. So if you remember like early like retrospect films, videos or something, you'd probably see me in like my backyard at my mom's house, and we always had like a different setup there, and it was kind of cool that both had their own different set of features. So in my head, I kind of think like, all right, now that I've got my spot, that's a chance to bring the old childhood home features back to life. Cause like those don't feel right at Icon, which is, it has its own flavor. So
right.
It'll be cool. I'm thinking that's the move.
Yeah, it'd be super cool. And I know we all want to see it. It'd be sick.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
Sick. Bringing up Icon, you mentioned you're still close to the Icon headquarters. The park still exists there. What is going on with Icon today, and what's the plan for Icon going forward?
Yeah, totally. This year was like kind of a temperature check year for us. Like we kind of wanted to see, especially with me moving home, it's like, all right, like let's see if we pull these marketing levers a little bit more than we had been, because we'd let some stuff fizzle, and I know that everybody can tell, like everybody has their fingers on the pulse of stuff these days because brands are talking to them constantly. So we're like, well, let's see what we can do with, the stock that we've got, with, the marketing collateral we've got, with the energy we've got, blah, blah, blah. And we did, and to like our surprise and delight, like things went off, like we had a great season. It was cool to kind of get back in and chat with people again and feel like we could resume that conversation. And like, yeah, again, we were trying to use this year as like, should we keep going and keep pushing it, or like have things gone too far and whatever, fallen by the wayside. And I think we just got like a cool glowing yes. So, we're not probably going to have any new stock for this season just because of supply chains being the way that they are and timelines being the way that they are, right. Which sucks because there's a massive amount of demand right now. Mm-hmm. But, there's also that scarcity might work well for us too next year when everyone's chomping at the bit for it. So yeah, the plans to have, new stuff next year because we have nothing left. So that's the plan anyway.
For sure. And a quick kind of related note that I want to call out that I haven't brought up in previous podcasts, but I want to on the supply chain issues. Jenkem did an article probably the first week of January about the supply chain issues in skateboarding, why you couldn't get decks, trucks, wheels, all of that sort of stuff. So if anybody is looking for an explanation as to, why you can't buy skateboards or snow skates, that is a fantastic resource. So I encourage everybody listening, even slightly curious and that sort of stuff, to go search out that article because it's really, really good stuff.
Right.
And Matt, regarding Icon and the team structure, so you haven't really had a team on Icon for a while. I'm jumping right in the heavy hitter question right out of the gate, yeah. Matt. I'm sorry, but
all good, bud.
Do you have a plan to put together a team for Icon going forward, or is that fluid at this point, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think we're playing it by ear, basically. I mean, we have to be honest with who we can support. Like we chatted a bunch, and if anyone wants to listen more, like that first episode, we chatted about resources and like team management and how like much I had to do or couldn't do and how people felt that. So I guess I'm trying to be selective about how much I take on so as to not make anybody feel like they're shortchanged. Because there's only I work full time. There's only so much I can do to support people. So we try to like make sure that we don't put anybody in a spot for them to be disappointed. the cool thing is we've got people who are like, kind of throwing down, still like trying to be like rep Icon and sending me clips and doing all this stuff. Really, and I'm giving them nothing in return, but they're doing it for the love, and it's going a long way for me. Like I'm so stoked and grateful to have their support. But right now we're like definitely kind of keeping people at arm's length, just because we want to support who we're able to support, basically, which isn't a whole team at the moment, So, but yeah, like I would love to play it by ear, and if things keep going the way that they do, like it would be cool to kind of invest a little bit more.
Yeah, and kind of a tough question on my part. I mean, you can't just build a team from scratch. I mean, that's not how that happens. You can't just go out and say, hey, at the beginning of next winter, we're going to have a team of 3 pros and 4 AMs or whatever. It's certainly not that simple. But yeah,
and
it'd be
for me too. Like one thing is like, I think teams there is a pressure now. Like Ambition's team is of a certain caliber. So you don't want to undercut that ever. So there's like a pressure now to make sure that anybody that you do bring on isn't just because they're available, and you need them to be at that bar, So I'm like super conscious of that and would never want to undercut the people who are really like doing it right, I guess, So you just got to be selective too. So it's like not just a resource issue, I'd say. It's like a level of scrutiny that you kind of have to respect where snowskating's at.
For sure. Very good answer. Semi-related to Icon, I mean, you have sold out pretty much all of your boards this winter. I mean, it's been a great year for snowskating. We've discussed this in previous podcasts, and, a great year for outdoor sports in general. Matt, I want to know your perspective on the current state of snowskating, especially during this pandemic when snowskating has flourished. What have you seen, especially given that, you're effectively an insider at this point, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I feel like most of what I've got is like anecdotal, but you start to notice more of the homies who are like core snowboarders, core skateboarders, like sending me clips, sending me footage when like years past they just wouldn't and didn't care. And it's pretty cool to see that people are caring these days. The kind of people that like I would have assumed might have liked it 5 years ago, but didn't, and was perplexed by it. But now they're catching on. So I think we've crossed this threshold where like, I've always wanted it to be, it's always been a proving ground every year, like of my snow skate career has been like, all right, this year we'll show them. And I feel like there was a point where even when I was in my heyday, I thought like, this is too rad that nobody could deny how rad this is. Like we're doing legitimate stuff, but it didn't quite work. And now it's crossed that threshold. People have like the things that Josh and Dave and Jensen and Zach and all you guys are doing is like doing it for people. It's cool. So I also think there's maybe this component of like people getting old enough to like be comfortable in their own skin and admit when something's cool and then not have to be like, oh no, that's kooky. Like people can be honest with themselves for once. Those same people can be a little nostalgic for times past when they messed around on a snow skate. And those people also have disposable income. So I think it might be a combination of all those things, kind of like the perfect storm where snow skating is cool for the first time to everyone but us, or everyone else in addition to us.
For sure. And Zach, a question for you as somebody who is super into skateboarding and follows it closely. Have you noticed that there is less of sort of I don't even know how to say this, but like a cool guy mentality in skateboarding where like the right tricks that need to be done are kind of thrown out the window compared to years past? Have you noticed, with some of the parts that I've been seeing and some of the tricks that I see done, do you notice what is acceptable in skateboarding kind of opening up, and therefore people aren't as scared to get on a snow skate and film, whereas before it may have been seen as uncool?
I think so. Yeah, and I think they even just had kind of like they talked about this topic on the 9 Club last weekend. I don't know or if you caught that as well, but they're like
The Reynolds one, or
yeah, it was the Reynolds one, and what they said literally was like anything goes at this point, and it's pretty true. I mean, I think that's part of it for sure, and I think social media maybe dips his toes in a little bit here as well and makes it more acceptable to some extent, because nowadays what sells on Instagram is something that is somewhat of an outlier, like any kind of footage that is attention grabbing. So how far does that go? Well, now it's going as far as snow skating, and I mean there's countless other ways to state it too, but yeah, I think it's a little bit more open, I guess. Yeah, I think so. Sure. Yeah. Short answer.
Yeah. You see a lot of these core skate groups doing things that I just don't think you would have seen doing like 5 or 10 years ago. Like today on Instagram, I saw Dime reshare a TikTok of their own of the Dime guys skating on TikTok. Like that combination of things, like if you would have told me like TikTok would have existed a few years ago, like I'd have been like, I don't think they ever would have done that. Like granted, they were like one of the first crews on Instagram, but it was still kind of surprising to see, you know?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty shocked by that, honestly. Definitely because they have a lot of sick street cred, if you will. So,
yeah, it's one of the first like skate crews or shops that I've seen like with anything on TikTok. And granted, I'm not on TikTok. I don't know much about that world, but I thought it was surprising that they jumped into it so quickly and were posting about it on Instagram. It's just kind of surprising to see in my feed.
It's smart, honestly. TikTok is a great tool. I mean, people in the music scene are getting pressured heavily right now to like get a TikTok for that reason, marketing. So it's smart. I get why they're doing it. I'm sure we'll see a lot of that shifting.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess, you know, for each new technology rolled out, we kind of think that. I remember, Zach, I was the one who made you get Instagram. Remember that back in 2014 or 2015? I mean, back then we all thought it wasn't that cool, you know?
Is that true?
Yeah, that is true. I made you get Instagram. Remember your first handle was Zach Ward is too cool for Instagram? Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, shit. I don't remember. I was super against it. That's for sure.
You were? So. You definitely were. Yeah, I'll be very curious to see if skateboarding and snow skating comes around to that. That'll be interesting. But
my personal little thing about it, you kind of have this legacy of like late 90s, early 2000s, just the kind of cynicism and exclusivity that was in skateboarding. I don't really know where it came from, but when you meet people kind of our age that were like, I remember getting like, man, it was really interesting. You were talking about how fun it was going to new skate parks and having that, where like, I remember doing that as a kid, and like the culture at every skate park was so different. Like I knew if I went to like, you know, say Mound, I would get bullied. And I knew if I went to like this, like it'd be easier. Like, and like, that just isn't a part of skateboarding anymore, which is maybe another signifying thing of this like shift where that exclusivity is not there anymore. And it's opening it up to things like snow skating. It's kind of how I see it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's more welcoming, but I think it's also maybe that we feel pretty welcome these days too. You know, like I feel like we can go to anywhere and like earn your keep, you know? And I've had other people like go to a park and be shy about it. And it's like, no, come on, like come skate, like you're good. Like,
yeah.
And I don't know, in some ways too, you got to like use your privilege to help people get into the mix. And I actually feel like people are doing that at scale with skateboarding too. Like even accounts like the Barracks, like, and they piss some people off with how much they share, and they share a much broader spectrum of talent and people these days. But like doing so, I think is for the best, for the better. And I think we are becoming way more inclusive than we've ever been. It's not like the problem isn't gone, but it's definitely being addressed. So it's pretty sweet.
Do any of you guys remember being younger and like skate parks just being really cliquey and like kind of toxic? Like, I mean, that's something I see less and less.
I 100% do. And when you were saying that, Andrew, I was thinking like, I go to skate parks at like 7:30 in the morning because I don't want to skate around people. And I'm wondering if one of the reasons for that is because the skate park culture and just skateboarding in general was so toxic when I first started skateboarding. And I think we said it on a previous podcast, but frankly, it was a toxic culture. It was not inviting, it was very inclusive. It's kind of sucked. You know what I mean? Obviously there were good parts about it, but there's a lot of negativity too. But yeah, I mean, maybe that's one of the reasons today that pandemic notwithstanding, I don't want to go to a skate park and skate around people. You know what I mean? There's other factors to that too, but I think that's, now that I think about it, a lot of what's driving that.
Just thinking back to 2020, summer 2020, and like my interactions at skate parks. Now just thinking about it in this lens, like I just like, yeah, like it was really interesting. Just because I really, this year more than ever, because I think because during the pandemic people were going out more, I really noticed it where I saw like a guy teaching a kid how to do a kickflip, complete strangers. I was racing this little girl for tray flips at Egan, and Egan's a new park that just opened up. And then this other dude was like really psyched about because I skate these old P-Rod 6s or whatever. And like this guy was just like geeking out on my shoes, and like it's just like, and like I'm with you guys where like I typically try to go earlier, but last year I was typically kind of there during like what you would say rush hour, and yeah, the culture is just way different. The etiquette is different. Like I think it's really something I've just noticed like this year. I feel like.
Yeah, I went to like a skate park near Boston over the summer, and I ran into like a guy who used to run an indoor park there. And I was like, hey, what's up, man? Like Matt Plays. He's like, dude, that's a name for like, I haven't heard in a few years. And he recognized me. And then I started hearing this other crew that was like, had a bunch of rippers, and they threw out like a town name that was like close to me and where I grew up and stuff. And I was like, all right, I'm feeling good today. Like I'll say what's up and see where they're from. They're from Uxbridge, where Icon is. And so I end up like meeting this crew, and they're like, yeah, we just go every weekend. We go to a new park and stuff. We meet up at the Uxbridge skate park and bounce over to somewhere else. It's been cool. I got to say, like this year, I mean, the pandemic changes everything, because like everyone's going to be grateful for any little interaction we can have, especially like a good safe one, like outside a skate park and stuff. And yeah, I think I've had some really positive experiences. I don't know if that's like a testament to how it is at scale, but it's been cool. And it's cool to also stir up that community a little bit too, and be like, yo, we like, as we kind of wound up some stuff with Icon, they were sharing it and whatever. So it was cool to see that there's a little bit of a local scene that I got to tap into, because I'm now closer to home too. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's super cool. All right, let's get into Go Snowskate Day and some listener questions. But first, let's take a quick Zoom break. All right, we're back from our designated Zoom break. Matt, let's talk about the history of Go Snowskating Day, as this is something that there hasn't really been anything like this in snowskating. Something that Icon's always done, but I personally have been like very appreciative that you've done it in a very brand agnostic way. You've made it as accessible as possible to all snow skaters. So how did Go Snowskating Day come about, and what did you do for it when, I guess, the first few years when you were putting out those trick lists?
Yeah, I mean, again, to your point, you're totally right. We did try our best to make it brand agnostic and to make it for everybody, to the point where I almost wanted it to be like, yeah, nobody owned it, and maybe something that we could kind of, maintain together. And I think we talked about it at length in my previous episode, but nobody kind of felt safe enough to do it. And it did feel a little bit owned by Icon, but that didn't stop people beyond Icon from doing it, which was cool.
And I don't think many people looked at it as an Icon thing either. I mean, there were a lot of good ambition edits and just a lot of just fun goon edits that people had, nothing to do with Icon that came out of it. Obviously the Icon edits are great too, but I mean,
Yeah.
the 2011 Alan Gerlach Go Snowskate Day edit was
That
one
one,
of the
that
best
one's a
of all
gem.
time.
Yeah.
And
With like
2012
him and
to
Bjorn
with,
and was it Nick Ahrens
yeah.
too? Yeah.
Eric
was not-
Schleicher, I think.
Oh yes, Eric. You're right.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I don't think that exists anymore, unfortunately, but God, that was a good edit. And honorable mention to Rob Provost in 2012 too. But anyway, sorry,
Yeah.
continue, Matt.
Oh yeah. All that to say, like, I actually like the fact that even we conceived the list on, or like I did, even that I felt like it could have been more. So actually it's pretty rad this year to try to crowdsource some tasks and stuff, to try to make it be bigger than just us and me. But I would say like it's one of those events that even if it was ever perceived as an Icon thing, it's probably like a me thing. Like I just wanted to give something back that felt like it was more direct to snow skating than Icon. Icon's like kind of me through a brand to snow skaters. Go Snow Skating Day to me feels like me to snow skaters. Like, hey, this is what I want to do. Like what I would love for somebody to have done to me and given me this like cool thing to do. And I guess I'm just trying to keep that rolling. So that's a huge impetus for like bringing it back is to like keep that rolling. You know, I don't know. There's no guarantee that I'll make a crazy edit like we usually do, but I'm going to like relish all the clips that I get to watch because people will throw down for it. So, yeah, it should be pretty cool. I mean, I do get competitive about Go Snowskate Day tasks, so I'll probably try if I can, but.
So when it came to creating the list, was it basically just you just setting 10 different tricks that you thought were pretty difficult, but you thought was possible to achieve in a group?
Yeah. I mean, that's basically it. You know, every now and again I'd have like Jared or Corey Prescott or Alex Crowcroft kind of contribute like a couple tasks and stuff. Even just posting a few things on my story, sharing your story. I've got friends hitting me up with ideas. So it's kind of cool. Like it feels like the door's open a little bit, but normally I would say I come up with most of them. And I just try to pay attention to like, try to make little inside jokes. If there's like something I learn about, or if there's something that's relevant, like speak to it. Like we should totally pull something from Dave's part and try to like make that a task, you know, just cause it's relevant, you know? Obviously we have to like be choosy about what normal humans can do, but I think that'd be like a cool way of approaching the list, you know, tap into what's happening.
A 12 stair or bigger.
Yeah, just some like casual.
No, I love that. And how many years did you actually get edits with people doing all 10 tricks? Because I remember like me and my buddies would try to do it, but there'd be like a switch flip or something that we couldn't do, or there'd be like one really difficult thing. So did you always get people that did all 10 tricks every year, or was it kind of spotty?
Most years we did. And in fact, I know the only stat I really know is there's only one year that we didn't get all 10. And that was the year where there's like the like back foot kick flip, which I just couldn't do. And it was
tough
like,
trick.
I truly stayed out until midnight to try to get it. And I think at a certain point I was like, I got to call it. It's not Go Snowskate Day anymore. So I just never got that trick. It's just not for me. But
the dice
that was the one year we didn't get it. And I honestly think that I remember that being a pretty good criteria, because we were always trying to like compare, and we would pick a winner. So like most years, I think we had at least a few people who had done it. So that really narrowed it down for us, because like you were DQ'd because you didn't do all of them or something, but these two crews did it. So we could like compare those two. So I think we walked that line pretty well. I mean, scale matters too. Like some things that we do would be like, yeah, flip trick into a firecracker. And it's like, I did it down the double set. Other people wouldn't do something. They wouldn't do it that big, but like we'd let that fly. You check that box, but you just checked it in a different way, you know? So I feel like that's where crews ended up, but most people did everything. How do you feel? Do you feel like we should go harder or softer on people?
I think it's a good balance personally. Like I always felt that it was difficult, but it was achievable. And even though I didn't personally achieve that between me and the people that I was snow skating with, I was like, okay, this could be done, but not everybody could do it. I felt like it was about right. Andrew, Zach, what do you guys feel about this?
Yeah, my instinct was always I like the more fun stuff. I almost want it to be sillier because that's what really got me hyped. Like one of my favorite years was like trick through the hula hoop or whatever. Yeah. And like seeing people do that and how they creatively interpret it is like that to me, I think was what I really liked seeing and just really what got me hyped to go snow skate and do it, you know?
Yeah.
Zach?
I think it was a great balance, honestly. It was fun for me and my crew. I know that. And I mean, not to talk ourselves up, but I think we were on the, like the higher end of the skill level. I mean, we all rode for companies at the time, so I just got to think that. And it was still fun for us and a challenge. So I think it was a great balance. But if it were to head anywhere now, I guess maybe it would have to be stepped up just a little bit because people are just getting so good at snow skating. And I don't know, maybe you can filter some of those people out that way too, because I'm always impressed every day when I go on Instagram at this point. So it's kind of surprising.
Yeah. Yeah, I like, there's got to be like a balance of like, I mean, there's a creativity portion to creating the list. And then it's also, you try to do stuff that's open-ended, like the hula hoops is kind of non-prescriptive. It's like, how do you want to use it? I mean, and I try to be so like, maybe this is short-sighted, but maybe it's also fair that like, we didn't even have a hula hoop. Like, it wasn't like I'm just like, kind of like stacking the deck in our favor. Like we ended up using, like, my dad had a bandsaw blade and we used that, which looked haggard on film, but like, yeah. So I try to be like fair so that set anybody up for success and anybody to like kind of interpret it their own way and make it so like, yeah, it is accessible where like you could do something rad with this prompt, or you could do something totally, doable.
Yeah.
So.
You can be like Rob Provo and, be playing Wii in some living room and doing some like Wii sports game with a hula hoop. And that was him checking the box for that section. Like you can be as gnarly or as silly as you want. And I think that's the beauty of it. And, I think the balance is great because it could push a lot of people to go harder than they maybe would have otherwise, but you could take it in a totally different direction and say, hey, screw this. I'm not going to do all 10 of these. So I'm just going to have as much fun as possible with this. And you get some great edits out of that as well. But just having just something to work for, even if you're not going to just some structure, I think that's such a cool idea and something I think we need to see more of in snow skating.
Yeah. I wonder, is there anything like we could do differently? I mean, I'm curious, we'll start seeing probably more of these edits like on Instagram. Is there anything we could do now that the times have changed and now that social media has changed to switch that up? Like delivery could be different. Like I'm this is like brainstorm session, but anything you guys can think of that like we could do in a modern Go Snow Skating day?
I don't know anything about Instagram Reels, but I think that could be a good format because everybody's on Instagram and using it anyway, and that allows you to go longer than the 60 seconds.
Right.
You could also just be not specific with the format and just say, hey, any video, if you want to put it into a 60-second Instagram edit, cool. Instagram Reels, cool. YouTube link, Vimeo, fine, whatever. I don't think TikTok could really be conducive to that, and I also know nothing about TikTok, but I think Reels could be a good option.
That'd be cool.
Zach?
Are you talking about more like task related though? Or are you talking about or like how
I guess delivery, like how it could be anything really. I mean, we've done things like we've incorporated social into a task, like post something,
Mm-hmm.
You could make a task like go live or something like that. Could be a kind of a cool way of getting people to engage a little bit, to stir up something on that day, especially in a weird time. That could work, I don't know, stuff like that.
Yeah, I was thinking if you just made a specific hashtag and then you said, you could basically just have people post things individually to the hashtag, and then you could just go through it. And then what'd be really cool is to see how everyone interprets the stuff. Like if you had like a hula hoop thing, that would be really cool just to see if you had it just tied to one hashtag and you just scroll through it. I mean, that might be.
Yeah. It would even be cool too, this is a wild idea, but like, what if it was like, you don't just crowdsource these tasks, but the edit is crowdsourced. It's like your clip's eligible for the Go Snowskating Day edit or something. And so like whoever does the best interpretation of a task could get the clip, you know?
That's a really cool idea. Yeah. Anybody who uses that hashtag is eligible to like have their clip in that final montage or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you could be shooting, even if you don't complete the whole list. I mean, you could be that one clip for that one item on the list. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Tight. See, look what we did.
That. Yeah.
Look at that. So Matt, when is Go Snowskate Day in 2021?
I'm doing February 27th, unless anybody has objections, but that's Saturday, February 27th. Sorry, did I say 22nd? I meant 27th.
February 27th. We got it down.
I have a question about that, Matt.
Go for it.
In the past, was it always reoccurring on the 21st of January, which is like actual winter day? I thought that was a thing, but maybe I'm making that up in my head.
Well, December 21st is the winter solstice.
Oh, my bad. You're right. My bad.
So we never did that. But we did. It was always kind of inspired by that. Like we would do like a month after it. Because Go
Skateboarding Day is usually like June 21st, which is like a summer solstice. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, like but for us, holiday time is like pretty busy and hectic. So we've always wanted to use Go Snowskating Day as a way to extend the season. So that's why we just would do like a month after that. There have been years where we've just kind of missed that, whether like it be for snow or whatever. We've adjusted it and done the February, but yeah, I guess it's a little bit arbitrary.
Okay. When we started the podcast, I looked at the calendar and I was like, fuck, we missed Go Snowskating Day. Because in my head, it's always on the 21st for whatever reason.
Yeah, no,
so
you're right.
I don't know if I was wrong.
We were way more consistent about it early on. You're totally right.
Okay.
We'll get back on the cadence.
Love it.
This is an off year.
All right. Well, let's jump into some crowdsourced task list suggestions for Go Snowskate Day. Andrew, your suggestion is Home Alone, which is the riding a big stair set down snow-covered stairs. I like that idea. I don't know if it could be a little late in the season. I don't know if everyone would have the snow to do it, but I really like the idea.
Even if it's a beater board and you want to sit down on it like Kevin in Home Alone, I think that'd be just a funny thing to see how people interpret it and see how big a set people try. But yeah, I don't know.
I like it.
Yeah, be cool. Snow skirt, switch pole jam. That'd be a good one. That'd be tough.
Oh wow, yeah,
that'd be a tough one.
That'd be cool.
Setting up a pole jam is always kind of a challenge, but that would be sick to see a bunch of switch pole jams.
I like that.
CC hot cake butt chug could turn into like a jackass style trick list. No, I don't think that's going to happen, especially out of Matt Plays an Icon. But it is definitely an idea.
It is an idea.
Challenge number 11.
Yeah.
Bonus challenge.
It's always challenge number 11.
Challenge with a little asterisk. Yeah. The Bachfather hippie flip a chain. I don't really know how you would do that. I don't know how that would really work. You'd have to find a chain, hippie jump it, and then something to, I don't know, get your board to flip or something. That'd be gnarly though.
Now that leads to the question, is a shove a flip? Some people call a shove it like a flip trick.
I say no.
I don't know if you guys ever hear that. I would say no as well, but if it was never stated, it could be taken that way.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. I like it. Yeah. The chain thing, I would say something like, I would do like hippie flip something, like you kind of, That way it actually makes it so you could find, if you got a chain handy or a spot that has that, that'd be tight. But if you just need to be take I don't know, little climbing rope or something, you got it, do your thing. So I like that though. It's cool. But I'm going to say no shoves.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm with you.
No shove.
Yep. Yep. Hakumi's Ghetto Bird. That would be so sick.
That'd be a good one.
So
That'd
tight.
be cool.
I don't know how many people would get that one, but that'd be so cool to see at a snow skate.
That would be cool. I like that. But yeah, that's gonna separate. Maybe for the crowdsource, we'll get Josh to do it. I bet he could. I bet he could do it.
He could do it. Yeah, he could do it. I'm putting him on the spot. I know he could do it.
Yeah.
Ba Lamb, 2 people, 1 board. Really cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
Might have to have a little.
Not COVID
this
safe.
year.
Not COVID
for
safe.
sure. It'd have to have some fine print, from the same household, wearing masks, all that sort of stuff. This may not be the year for that challenge, but I do like the idea. I like the principle.
I have wanted to do something that's do something deliberately 6 feet apart from somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be
a
social distance maneuver.
Yeah, I like that.
It'd be you could have it as if you could get someone to do the same obstacle in a train and just make sure they're 6 feet apart. That would be great.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure.
Some sort of line or collaboration.
Yeah.
Getting no closer than 6 feet. Yeah. I like that. Phil Moreau, 4 questions or 4 suggestions. Do a trick holding your pet animal. I don't think that one's going to fly. No, I don't think that one's going to make it on the list. A little gnarly. Ollie over a car would be sick. Don't think it's going to happen. Most pop shove-its in a row. The edits might be 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
And yell Tony Hawk at every trick.
Oh my god. Yeah, we got trolled.
Phil Moreau's trolling us every single week.
I love that last one. It's so good.
I love it. All right. So, Matt, you got some stuff to work with, man. There's your trick list.
Yeah. No, I think we do have some stuff. I like
there were some good ideas.
I like the chain.
Yeah.
We got some. That's tight.
And my selfish suggestion is fakie big spin, just because I like doing them.
I was going to ask, if everyone had one, what would you guys pick? So yours is fakie big spin. I'm sure you've already been thinking of it, Matt, but what's a standout one in your head you'd like to see?
This year?
Yeah.
Dude, I actually feel I know I was starting a list maybe last year after our stuff. I know I have some stuff. Dude, I've come up with I'd be curious to find out how many tasks I've come up with, but let's see. One that I really loved and I want to get to the spirit of again. I really like that one. I think Bjorn turned me onto it, but it was he called it an all of, and we did
oh yeah,
nollie, fakie, regular switch. I loved that.
That was a cool idea.
And I would maybe even consider doing that with maybe getting specific and do that with a big spin. Wouldn't it be sick to do big spin always?
Yeah.
Something like that. That'd be a hard one. Switch might be difficult. I mean,
did you only do it the one season?
We only did it one season. Yeah.
That was the season we did it. I loved that one. That was cool.
Were we specific? I feel like we just said
you weren't.
Do something.
We
weren't. Right. Yeah.
I just said heel flip out loud and it was not. That's just the trick
that's
we
what
chose
I did.
for our
That's
group.
what I did too.
Yeah.
Okay. I could maybe do front, big spin, all way, front side. I couldn't do back side.
Yeah.
Because I know I could switch.
I
know I could switch front big. I think more easily than I could switch backside front or switch backside big.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you too on that one.
Yeah.
Zach, do you have an idea?
For whatever reason, when we were talking a little bit ago, I think it would be cool to either see flip into press or flip out of press. And if we were nuts and demanding, we'd say flip in and out of a press.
No way. No way.
It's been done. Well, shove again.
We've done
I guess
done
you could
out.
say trick in and out of press.
We've done out for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
In and out
Forgive
would
me
be
if I don't
tight.
remember.
Would be tight. I like that.
I mean, that's Trick in and out. Yeah, I feel like that's totally attainable. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you could do a shove, you could do a spin, like that would be possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Andrew, I know
All right.
you said the Home Alone thing, but do you have any others?
I would probably maybe no comply into a line of 3 tricks or more. Maybe that would be a good one. Maybe that's like I just learned those this year, and it took me like a little bit, but I just like doing them, and it sets you up switch, and it kind of like it's kind of one of those tricks where you can learn. It doesn't take a long time, but like to really master it and to flow that into a line is a good challenge that I liked. At least for this season, that's what I was messing with.
Right.
That's
I think
cool.
no comply variations in general are pretty cool and not that often seen.
Yeah. That's for sure.
My brain doesn't work well that way, so we're going to do this crowdsource business.
Yeah.
There you go.
Love it. So we'll get into listener questions in a second, but Matt, I got a question for you on your own footage from back in the day. Something we should have asked about in Wet Sox, but we did not ask about in Wet Sox.
Yeah.
Your triple kink in Premier's submission. Talk us through that clip, because I have a lot of questions about that clip.
Oh, yeah. Wow, I've thought I repressed that memory. Yeah, I guess that was like the days of, for me, it was like, do you remember like Christian Belju and Frederick Belju and all those dudes, like Switch Films and everybody? They were like really taking off, and you know, it seemed like that they were kind of steering snow skating in a certain direction, which was like ride on handrails, but they were like pretty gnarly, like, and I think that was my attempt to kind of keep up with them a little bit. And so, yeah, there was this rail that like, and the real sad part about this clip was like, it was like a super slushy day. I think I was pretty desperate to try to get the clip, you know, while we still had snow, and it was just going to be like, yeah, ride on, down, flat, down. And I don't know. It's because it's ride on. It's like, you kind of just got to control it once you get on. But anyway, it was so slushy that this one time that I actually committed to it, I like kind of fucked up on the approach and was just like super, like just on the pinnacle of the ramp up to the rail, and just like stood there for like over a second and decided, you know what, I'm going to see how it goes and just cruise on down. And like, it wouldn't have been a keeper even if I'd have gotten it. Like, that's the really crappy part.
Oh,
and man. I think I made it down like maybe to the second down, and my board slipped off the rail. My legs went one way, my body went the other. And like, I just remember my head going totally down the stairs, like total head massage. But in the weirdest way, I felt nothing. Like, I did not feel, I can remember it vividly. It was like this, like almost like my head was asleep, like, you know, when your legs asleep and stuff, and it's like tingly. Oh. Yeah. And I got up and I was fine, and we went home and made sure I didn't have a concussion or whatever. Like, I didn't, like, just kind of was a shitty day. And then I went back once with a helmet, and I think I just did like the bottom rail just to like have some like ownership over the rail and have done a little, gotten a little piece of it. And I think that was in some crappy Premiere vid, but yeah, it's kind of a, you know, I don't think too harshly on it, because it would have been a kooky trick anyway. So, but it was like an attention grabber in whatever trailer it ended up in. Where did you see it, and like what reminded you of it? I'm curious.
It's the ender in your submission part.
Is
like,
it?
That's how you went out.
So I don't even watch it.
And they did you dirty. You addressed it, and this was my question. And this is not a question really for you, Matt, but they didn't show you actually riding onto the rail. They showed you after the first down, and then just dying after that.
Because I got on it so poorly, basically. Like I got up to it so slowly that like it wasn't worth showing. It wasn't going to be fluid at all, you know?
Sure. That makes
So
sense.
like
Because I was
basically should have avoided that.
Yeah, and I was texting Zach earlier in the day, and I was like, I'm not doubting you, Matt, but I was like, did he actually ride up to it, or did he drop in on it? Because we didn't see it. Like,
I said
you can't
yes.
see
I was like,
you
there's
can't
the
see
kicker right there. He probably rode up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could see the kicker, but you couldn't see any snow because of the way that it was angled. They
Right.
didn't show you riding up to it, so they kind of did you dirty on that front, although now with the explanation, it makes sense. But I had a lot of questions after watching that, especially because they made that effectively your ender in the part, and then you just died and just went on to Jared Blaze after that.
Submission. That video, that was such a letdown for me, just because, like, I mean, coming off of Turn It Out, which to me was a cool premiere video, the coolest I'd, ever seen. And then there was the changing of hands. And then I got on, and submission just didn't do it justice. It was like, that's probably the most shade I'll throw this whole show, but I have no
so
shame.
Lightly put. That video
No
sucks.
shame in saying
you can throw as
sucks,
much shade as you want on Premiere, man.
Yeah,
I
actually think I might have even saved some footage. I'm not sure I even gave them. Oh, you know what? I probably didn't give them all my footage for the white contrast years. Actually, it's because I was like, I'll give them the bare minimum to stay on, but like I actually don't trust them with it. So, yeah.
Right.
Probably a good
And
call.
in your defense, then you put out your own video with all that footage, though, which was a way with Enjoy the View. So
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. So I don't know.
And also,
Weird
hate
dark
that
years.
you say that that trick kind of would have been kooky or whatever, and I get where you're coming from, but to
I
credit
disagree.
you, that's still really fucking gnarly. It was a huge rail. Even if it would have been done right on, it's insane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. But I suppose you're right. Like, and there like, I think we did stuff that year that successfully that was just like that, and like I never did it again. But yeah, the inspiration was the Belgiu dudes. Like, kind of didn't know, like, maybe that's where snow skating was going to go. Obviously, I think things changed, and I started gravitating towards other ways of applying snow skating. But yeah, it was a chapter for sure.
Can I ask how far you got on that rail before that slam? Like, what were some of the attempts prior?
Yeah, I think that might have been about where, I don't know that I ever hit that second flat. You're cruising. Like, I think there was a point where I don't know if we had any way to slow it down day of, but we like wanted to see if we could find a way to like slow the rail down. Maybe on the day 2 that we went back with a helmet, I think I might have tried to like bring something like spray adhesive or something, something to slow this process down, but didn't really. I didn't have the head game to actually try it again. So
yeah, and who could blame you? I mean, that is a very graphic slam. Before I even knew you and I saw that video, I was like, this kid just died.
Yeah,
I was like, and they just went on to the next thing, and they threw it, like you said, it was just thrown in there. I mean, the whole video was just thrown together, like whatever.
Right.
So it's very blasé.
That's a blast from the past.
Wow.
I'm glad we're talking about it. That's a funny one.
Yeah, I was like, Alan brought this up when I was talking to him before we did this podcast, and I went and watched the footage because I think I'd seen it at some point in the past, but I'd forgotten about it, and I watched it today, and I'm like, oh my God, like Matt Plays just died on that. Like, he had to have been so concussed. Like, it's probably one of those things you see in a skate video where, you go with the head, like close-up shot, he's bleeding out of his head, all that stuff, doesn't know what's going on, and the fact that you were fine is incredible.
Yeah, I don't think anything major happened. I mean, I don't know. I like, like babies can fall out of windows and stuff and not get hurt. Like, I don't know. I can usually put like a limb down to soften the blow, or maybe I just took it like a baby.
You took it. You ragdolled pretty hard.
You did. Didn't look like there was a lot of control there.
Yeah, but like I don't know. Maybe I didn't fight it either. I just let it happen.
Maybe that was And to paint a picture real quick, I mean, it was like springtime. I mean, I'm sure you'll show the clip for anyone listening.
We'll overlay it. Yeah.
I mean, there's no snow on the stairs. There's no snow anywhere to cushion the fall. You're pretty much falling on direct cement.
Yep.
That's brutal.
Dude.
I'm glad you were okay.
Yeah,
Thanks,
for
bud.
sure.
Yeah.
I feel like the first time I met you, Matt, I think I asked you that right away. I really wanted to know what was up with that because it was such a it was just thrown in that video, and I'm like, whoa, I need some closure.
It's funny because it's such an afterthought to me. Like it's not.
I'm glad.
But
Crazy.
Should we bounce out?
Yeah, we will get to listener questions and the not so rapid fire question list. But yeah, let's take a break. All right, we're back from the Zoom and beer break. Let's go into some listener questions for Matt Plays. First question, Alex Mars 6. Matt, where do you see the future of snow skating heading in terms of popularity, skill, and brand availability? Kind of a loaded question.
I mean, I feel like we've covered a lot of this. It's cool. Like you can, I would say like extrapolate what you're seeing from Dave and a lot of the Ambition full lengths lately. Like that's where it's heading. Like everything's getting more and more polished, more and more dialed. I think we're having more people embrace it. We've already talked about that at length, which is cool. Yeah, I think like it's cool to see people holding it to such a high standard. There's like, but also like get more creative with it. And I think you're going to start seeing people like skateboarding be a little bit more diverse and own their niche. I think Dave really exhibited that with like, he just owned his niche in his part. Like that is a Dave part through and through. And like there's nothing anybody would change about it. Right. I think I'd love to see somebody on the total different end of the spectrum do their shit, and like own that part. So like, I think it's just getting more refined to answer that part of the question and just, it's getting respect outside of snow skating, which is cool. And I think, at least with where people seem to be like reinvigorated and the sport seems to be like resonating again. So I think it's kind of cool that there's more market share and opportunity for us to get back in the mix as Icon. Ambition's thriving. Other brands have come and gone, and I think that'll continue, and hopefully like more will stick around. I think I'm optimistic is like in the short term, or in the short of it. So what do y'all think?
Yeah, the short answer for me is...
I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, exactly. Very optimistic, and for pretty much all the reasons that you said. I mean, I don't see any reason that it wouldn't quit growing. And it's not even really a concern, but when things are, this time next winter, when things are a little bit closer to, quote unquote normal, like we would have been, a year or two ago at this time, what will the pullback from the increase in outdoor sports popularity look like? Because I have no idea what that would be like. So maybe there will be a huge pullback for, really everything outdoors, and we'll get back to our normal levels. Maybe that the interest levels will stay the same because people are super excited about stuff like this. I have no idea.
Yeah. If I had to make a guess, it's like, I think this has been a wake-up call for people. I don't think things are going to regress too much. I think like people investing in these things that they're investing in is like, because the pandemic put things into perspective for people, I actually think it's going to that's going to stick with people. Like, I think we're going to see lasting effects more than we will see a return to normalcy. And I think that people opting for fun outside activities with their friends, like, is going to be one of those things that people keep. So I think that's the good news.
I sure hope
I'm with
so.
you. I hope you're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Zach, Andrew, any other ideas there?
Not to sound grim, but I mean, we could very well be only a little better off by this time next year. I mean, you really just, plan for the worst and hope for the best kind of situation where, people still might not have the confidence even after vaccination, knowing that a certain percent won't get vaccinated or whatever, but like, there still could be just as much call next year So I'm really optimistic though. I'm really taking this COVID thing and just running with it. So it's the best.
Yeah, it's like I've chatted with some colleagues that work like in Australia, and they're like leagues ahead of us. But still, like you have to take the same. Like one of the guys told me, he's like, it's been 3 days since we've had a recorded case in the whole continent of Australia, and basically, it's like, but they still do all the same things. They still have masks and wear masks as a precaution. And it's like, even though we are so far away from that, we're like, a lot won't change until we get there or when we get there.
Right.
So it's tricky.
It is for sure. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out for sure.
Can I throw my next question out there, as I think it might go kind of hand in hand with what Matt was touching on earlier with the standard of snow skating?
Yeah, go for it.
So a question we got last week that I forgot to address because it was in my message or like my DM request when you don't follow someone or whatever. So I missed it. Anyways,
and
the question
let me
is,
call something out too. When I post these, the question box stories, it sounds like a small thing, but please respond to the actual question box, because I know I missed a couple that have like responded directly to the story as well that I haven't gotten to because I'm just looking at like the actual responses from Instagram. So It sounds like a minor thing, but I might miss it otherwise. So anyway, sorry, continue, Zach.
Partially,
we
why
love your responses.
We do. Keep them coming.
Yeah,
it is fantastic stuff.
Mm-hmm. Except them.
Always. So this one was from Patty E. Robinson, which I don't know, maybe you guys have seen him around. He rips. Always throwing out footage out there. He rips for sure. But he asked, what kind of tricks do you think will make a flow part better, as I'm trying to get on, flow with ambition? I thought I would ask. He also said the show's great. So that was cool. In your opinion, Matt, we'll start with you. Obviously, you probably monitored these types of things and went through response from your videos. What did you look for?
I mean, I think like there is something to, I feel like I know why you asked this after what we were chatting about. And it's like, you want to see that somebody's doing tricks that they genuinely want to do. They're not following a trend. It doesn't feel contrived. It feels like it's genuinely like what this person is after. And I think that's what you see from the best people, is like they're doing tricks that they like love to do, not because they're trying to check a box, not because they know that that's the criteria and that's what people expect. You're doing it because you're like completely motivated to do it. And I think that's kind of the only good reason to do a trick, is like you should, like I had a really tough time. I think I got to prep a little for this, where it was like your favorite trick you do. And I'm like, I only do tricks that are my favorite tricks to do. I don't do any trick for anybody but me. And I guess you just want to see that or feel that, and that should translate to me as a viewer, that you're doing that. And so that said, the answer is a variable. Like if I can see you totally owning a trick that I would never do, good on you, and I think the world will be better because you're doing it. Yeah, that's kind of where my head's at. Where are you at?
No, I 100% agree, because, when he asks like, well, what tricks do you want to see? It's like, I get what you're going after, but I think that's the wrong way to approach it. Like you said, then it might come off as like forced or contrived, and you gotta hone in on your skills and you gotta own them.
Yeah.
For me, I completely agree with everything you said, but to even take it a little bit farther, do exactly that, but also just make sure they look good, make sure they ride away, make sure they're clean, it's hard on a snow skate. We all know that. It's extremely hard.
Yeah.
But for example, when we were filtering through those flow videos that we got last year, I picked a few of the people I did or advocated for them because of that. Like that Leslie Blaze guy on Instagram who we flow now. Yeah. Dude to me was a shoe-in, because every single trick in his flow part rode away clean, no toe drag. It didn't, the tricks weren't flopped, so it's like you said, it's a mix between owning your craft and also doing it correctly and making it look good. So I think, don't worry so much about, what tricks you think they want to see, and just make sure the ones you do are done well and look great. I mean, sure, there's a standard that goes with it. You could do the best trick ever, but if it's down to 2-stair, you're going to be like, all right, let's step it up. But you know what I'm saying. I get that should be implied. But I don't know. Anything from you guys? What do you guys think, Eric and Andrew?
I want to echo what Matt said, but just do the tricks that you want to do. Like, don't feel like you have to conform to, like, I don't know, you don't need to necessarily get a handrail trick or get, you know, a stair trick or get a gap trick. I mean, look at Dave. Like, he's basically only skating rails. He didn't flip his board in his last part, and it's amazing, right? And I mean, just go do whatever you want to do in a snow skate. And like one of my favorite snow skaters is Josh Seguin. And like, he's not one of the most, you know, technically proficient snow skaters. He's not necessarily doing the craziest shit, but he's doing what he wants to do. And he's doing a bunch of different stuff, and it stood out as a result. And I understand that not everybody is going to like that, but I loved it personally, right? So just go out and do your own thing snow skating. Find what you like, find what you want to do, go and do it, go and film it, and go from there.
Yeah, you really summed it up. Like, just make it your own, you know. Really, like, if you don't, you know, if you just want to be a park kook and like have just really, you know, just make it, own your craft, find your spots, find your, you know, it's exactly what you would think. Like, put your heart.
And I assume you didn't say park kook negatively either. You said it in
No,
like the
like,
most
that's a good
positive
thing.
ways, but
like, just because that's like a style
Just to
we
clarify.
don't see anymore. Like,
right. You
park
really
edits
don't.
are some of the funnest things, and like, you know, it's what I like to, you know, see spot selection wise. But you know, just make it your own. I guess that's all I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Love it. Next question, Matt. I deliberately didn't send you these questions just to keep you on your toes. But like half of the questions were like basically saying like, what's going on with Icon? Like, are they going to make new boards? Like, people are like stoked. Like, they want to know what's going on with Icon, and they're hyped. So I want to relay that to you, and I want to relay that to you publicly. Like, people are stoked.
That's tight. Cool. Yeah, I mean, we're aiming for next season because that's like the closest we can aim, basically.
Right. That's all you can do.
Which is what we're doing. So it should be sick. But thank you.
Would you keep the same production style? You keep it at HQ and do it the same way? And
yeah, we'll do, at least for sure in the short term. Yeah, totally. Like we can do a decent amount of boards there, so we'll be good. Like, demand has increased, but not so much that we need to scramble for anything else. So we should be good.
For sure.
Can't wait.
I am going to combine two questions. Alex Mar 6 again. Does Snowskate tech or designs have room to improve? What needs improvement? And DK Turbide, what are the differences between an Icon and an Ambition board? So I'm going to kind of put those two together. And Matt, what did you do to separate the Icon product from the Ambition product? And do you still see any opportunities out there in Snowskate construction, or Snowskate design rather, and construction as well?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, give us all your trade secrets.
Yeah, I feel like the big thing we've stuck with is that we continue to do what we call the core cut snow skate, which is a lot like, you know, it's like we kind of took what Premiere was doing and we did it significantly better with better materials. And
just so anybody who's not familiar, can you lay out what that is, Matt?
Oh, totally. Yeah. So that is that the grooves are cut into the core, the like maple core of the snow skate before the base is adhered to it. And then the base is then pressed into those grooves. What that gives you is really the lightest board you can have. It's a thinner base, so it is a little bit more fragile, but like into anybody who's A, careful, or B, like a skilled snow skater, you can be fine with it. That does give you, 5 super big grooves that lock on, round rails perfectly. As far as tracking goes, it might be a little bit looser than super precise, like grooves that are cut out of the UHMW or the HDPE for Ambition. But there are some people, I think, that like that surfiness, and there's some tolerance and forgiveness there too. So yeah, that's in the short of it. Like that's what you get. I also love that construction personally, just the way that it flips and the weight distribution of that board and the board feel that I get is like unmatched. I've never found anything I've liked better. Even though we make what we call a DuraSpeed board, which mimics kind of the Ambition style, where it's the grooves are cut out of the thicker base material. And that has its advantages, but I also find that like when it comes to flip tricks, which is kind of my cup of tea, the way that board flips and the way it feels when I catch it is different. So I prefer the lighter board, and I love that we have these levers to push and pull, and I can kind of have a little bit of a quiver and say like, all right, this spot deserves this board, that spot deserves that board. So that's kind of what we got at Icon. I guess as far as like bigger than that and extrapolating that, I would love to do more sizes probably, and more sizes on the big end. We've explored it, especially when Bjorn was here. We did a couple like one-off boards for him that were bigger. And I think they open up some doors to new terrain, and for like riders that are like, I'm not a huge dude. So for riders that are bigger, I think like, I know Crow loved it. And I think now you see some people doing more pow surfy type stuff. I think that could be a cool thing and a cool board to add to the quiver. But to be honest, like I really do like what we've got as our core line, and I think we'll probably stick with it. Yeah.
So a question for you that's great stuff, Matt. Question for you on your board sizes though. And I apologize in advance. I haven't looked at the Icon lineup for a while, but from what I recall last, you were making a 32-inch length board and a 34-inch length board and maybe a 33 as well. Are those the current sizes that you're offering? And you were talking about going bigger. How big would you conceivably go?
Yeah. I mean, so we for a few years called the 30, what we call the 33 now, we called it a 34, and we had a 32 and a 34. The 34 was always a little shy, so we've been opting to call it a 33, but it's, 33 and change. Those boards, like I recommend most full-size adults to get a 33, just because you do benefit from the way that glides on snow. You benefit from that surface area. 32, like you really need to want to be doing something technical or be a small person, is kind of the way I look at it. As soon as you want to do anything big, stability and like glide wise, you want that surface area, get the 33. I mean, and as far as how big would we ever go? Like I would maybe, all our boards are 8.5. Maybe I'd say like, let's do a 9 that's like 35 or something, like that'd be a kind of a cool board. Like I think I could find some times where I could still control that board and, use it in the right terrain and benefit from that little size increase. That's kind of where my head's at. What do you think?
Sure. And I wish I would have brought this up when we were going into our own setups in the last podcast. I realized when I was editing that I forgot that, but I am such a big board advocate. Like my small board is the Jensen model, 8 3/4 by, I think it's like 33 and a half or whatever. And then the Phil Moreau, which is like 9 by 34 and a half. And when I was on Hot Dish, it was the Phil Smaggi, which was 8 7/8 by like 34, which was my little board at the time. And then the Allen, which was like 9 or like 9 1/8 by like 35 1/4 or something like that. And that was like those, like I definitely like the Ambition construction better. And I like the Ambition. The shapes are fine. The shapes are probably, I don't know. They're both good. But I don't know. I kind of like the sizes of the Hot Dish, like just being in that slightly bigger territory. Like, I don't know. There's something comforting about riding a big board. And I acknowledge I'm in a minority. Like a lot of smaller boards sell. But Zach, I know you're riding the big board. Like a lot of people on the Ambition team are also riding the big board. I think most people, and this is my personal opinion, I have nothing to back this up, but I think most people could go into a bigger board and be totally fine. So that's kind of what I wanted to ask you, Matt, is why you were focusing on the smaller sizes and what you, I guess not necessarily had to back that up, but what you had found as to why that was, successful.
I mean, it was kind of the, genesis of Icon was my dad wanted to make a board for Jared, who was like a late bloomer kid. Sure. He was 5 feet flat in high school, like until senior year when he like maybe, or after that he like grew, but he was on premieres that were just too big for him. And the whole reason my dad started tinkering with boards was just to make it so he could flip a board that's proportionate to him. So the first few that he made were really small, and too small for me. Like, I remember like thinking, this is good, but I do want the premier size equivalent. Like, give me the 33, give me the 34, or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was kind of, I think, why we kept it around and why we do continue to keep it around, is because, we do want the like little kids to come up and do it, but I am like, one of the most common customer support questions we get is like, which board should I get? And I am like super hyper aware of guiding people towards a 33, because I think that's where they'll be happiest. And I want to be like, only a very small number of you should be on, like, legitimately be on a smaller board. So that's where my head's at. We'll always keep it, because we do think like the youth is the future, and like we want to give those kids a board. But yeah, get a 33 unless you fit the criteria.
Matt, have you ever well, let's even bring it back farther. Do you remember back in the day when Premiere would offer the full board, they would call it, which was, it's
30, 36 or something? Yeah.
I think they labeled it as a 36-inch board. I never measured it, but did you ever mess with those? Did you ever try those out? I personally hated them when I was younger. I could not ride one. My friends did. I was like, those are fucking huge.
Yeah. We like, in the crew, we had a few homies that had them, and like I'd try them, and you'd like do a 3 flip, and it'd be like, foo, foo, foo. Like, it was just huge. And
a lot.
But yeah, like you could do it, but I think it was too much for me. I also saw people do okay on them and like good on them, but was not me for sure.
Same. Right. So I guess I bring that up because I think we're probably about the same height. We're pretty similar in size. And it took me so long to come around to a bigger board until about 3 years ago. Yeah. And now I love it. I don't do a 3 flip on it either. Don't get me wrong. I keep a small board around for certain flip tricks, but you should definitely give a bigger board a try if you have the opportunity. You might love it. It's changed the game for me.
And for the listeners, Matt and Zach, how tall are you guys?
I'm 5'8".
I'm 5'9".
Okay, I'm 5'9" as well. 5'9" or 5'10".
Yeah,
probably 5'9" and a half, whatever.
Bunch of average dudes, and probably Andrew, who's not average.
I'm 6'5".
Yeah.
There we go.
Definitely not average. You definitely fit into the bigger board, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, the Moreau for me was like, that I believe is the 34, 8 and a 3/4.
It's a 9.
Is it no, the Moreau is a 9, is it?
Oh, yeah, it's 9 by like 34,
and I love
34
it.
and a half.
I love it.
Well, yeah,
I love it.
You should also keep in mind I have size 13 feet. So like for me, 9 is really necessary. So otherwise, if I'm riding my old Premiere, I'm toe dragging everywhere we go. So, but
yeah. For me, my like renaissance of skateboarding has been because I started graduating to like wider boards too, because it started feeling more like a snow skate. I mean, I don't know, for whatever reason, I probably did used to ride like 7.75s for no good reason, just because like that was what you did in that era. And then I was like, I'll try an 8, and then I tried an 8 1/4, and then like I'll get an 8 1/4 if I have to, but 8.375's my jam. But every step up, I was like, this is more and more comfortable for me, because I think it got closer and closer to a snow skate. maybe the same could happen on a snow skate. Like maybe going up would do it for me too. I'll give it a go.
I recommend it. You'll probably be pleasantly surprised, at least with certain tricks. I think you'll really like it.
Yeah, I don't think I would 3-flip on like the Moreau or anything like that, but like normal kick flips, heel flips, like as long as you're only shoving once and not more than that, you're fine on the big board.
Tight.
And kind of related, Zach and Matt, what's your guys' shoe size?
9.5.
I'm 8.5 to a 9. Oh,
Okay. And Zach, what size board do you skateboard?
I skate an 8.5, but I also do. I like the 8.3/8 as well. I can skate those if someone, if it's a shape I like, I'll still do that. Yep. But yeah, either of those two. 8.5 mostly though.
Okay. Yeah, I skate like 8.25, but I'm messing around on a skateboard. I can't do anything anyway. I'm just having fun. Andrew, what size do you skate?
I've had the same shape for a while. I think I'm like an 8.45. I think like almost 8.5, somewhere 8.5-ish around there.
Okay. All right, let's drop for a Zoom break and let's jump back in, boys. All right, we're back from our Zoom break. Let's jump back into listener questions. 2 good questions from Corey Prescott, and I'm going to ask you these as roundtable questions. First question, what's your go-to beer right now? Matt?
I got the Coney Boys, Cone Heads from Zero Gravity.
Okay. Zach?
Oh, wow. Right now, I haven't had anything fancy. I've been drinking whiskey, so bad answer. I guess my go-to beer, if I'm like getting a nice one, would probably be KBC's Widowmaker, or I'm a big Stella guy. So
okay,
that's would that be Kalamazoo Brewing Company or what is KBC?
Oh, sorry, KBC is actually up here in the Upper Peninsula, Michigan. It's Keweenaw Brewing Company, so it's like a darker beer.
Dig it.
A black ale.
Nice.
Andrew?
Lagers. This is Surly Hell. It's a good one.
Okay. Yeah, I've been going for Bell's Two Hearted. Such a good beer, and you can find it pretty much everywhere. But honorable mention to Inbound Brewing, Fruit of the Loop. Not a great brewery, like not super hyped on them overall, but that specific beer, that fruity IPA, is so good. Big shout out to that beer. Second question from Corey. What is your favorite Snowskate graphic? Matt?
I mean, honestly, I've always been partial to like just the straight up logo boards, and I'm going to go with like the colorway that I've liked most. I really like, currently I'm running the like gunmetal, which is like black logo type on gray. Love that. And I also really want to do black logo type on white again. I think we did that one year, or at least a whiteboard with a black emblem or something. And I think that's pretty tight.
Yeah, I love white bases. So sick. I think it's the coolest looking thing in snow skating. Zach?
Can I push Matt a little farther on that one? Because when I read that question, I want to know what his favorite Premiere graphic is.
Premiere graphic.
Yeah.
There's so many I hated.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Most of them suck.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess there were some, I did like that. I never wrote it, but I did like the 2-for-1 Elite. It was like the polar landscape. I actually liked that board a lot. I never had it. And if you did, I think people had it, and it would have like the holes in it. So snow would come up on the base or on the grip, which is shitty, but I liked that graphic. Otherwise, I'm going to be like, there were some of those like watercolor boards in 06 that were okay for me, because again, some of the graphics got, in my opinion, too personal to the pro that they belong to, that it was like, it also felt like it wasn't for me. It wasn't my board, And I actually think that's a thing that I don't know. Even with Icon, I think we're veering towards making boards that can be anybody's board more than it's like, I don't need it to be my board, you know? So I like to make a board that you can feel like is yours, you know?
Yeah. It's a good point. I like I had the Elite board. That was my second.
That's a good
wood
one. I'm
board
glad
from
I
Premiere ever,
I'm
and
glad
I
I thought-
loved it.
Yeah. I might have that one because I think that friend that had it like left it at my house. So I might have it in the archives. It's a good one. I just never wrote it.
Were you going to ask me next, Eric? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Wow, my favorite graphic. For whatever reason, this graphic just sticks out in my head as like a young kid wanting this board and it was already past my time. It didn't exist by the time I was like getting into snow skating, but the Sebastian Rabin board from Premiere back in the day that had just a beer bottle on it. I think it just had like a green beer bottle.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, I thought that was cool when I was a kid. I was like, oh, that's a kind of an interesting graphic. So I think that would be mine. I guess if I was to maybe switch up and say Ambition graphics, I liked Dave's board that just had a VX1000 on the bottom just because I love that camera. So that's my other, I'd say, contender.
Andrew?
Yeah, mine's kind of the same way. But my favorite all time would be Alan's Pro Model on Ambition that had the blue and the maroon.
Yeah, the Minneapolis skyline.
I agree. I love that one. I forgot about it.
Love
that simple
that's
graphic.
Like where I'm from. It's the colors are really good. I'm with you, Eric, because you know I have a white team board too, and I like that one too. Mm-hmm. Icon. I found a picture. This is the one I had. I hope I could. Yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah, the Arbor.
Oh yeah, I like that one.
I like the offset logo in the trees. I liked that.
Yeah.
Premiere board would be probably, but I really loved and I told them when we had them on Wet Sox, but the Max Hilty watercolor series, I liked that. Or as just far as like some of the cringy graphics from Premiere that I really liked. I liked the Isaac Hebert fire
Samurai.
The samurai. Yeah, that's right. That was a good one.
He had like 5 samurais in a row for some reason.
Danger Girl randomly to me it's just like because they decided to put anime girls.
Those were like grip graphics too.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about grip graphic.
Yeah, so that's kind of my 4. But yeah, for sure the Allens, and then I think maybe Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Phil board was kind of the counter to the Allen board. It was a city skyline, and then it was like the Phil had the farm skyline.
Had the rural skyline, the red and black one.
Yeah, that one was cool too. I like that as a series too. I like how they kind of put that out together. That was cool, but yeah. And
it was cool that they did all they could before they were doing like real graphics, just having to do the die cut patterns and the plastic bases. Yeah. And especially with the Minneapolis skyline, they did such a good job with that. I have a board sitting in my basement just like waiting to go on a wall, that Allen graphic, because it's so good.
Pristine, or written?
Oh, yeah, written. I wish it was pristine, but no, it was a hand-me-down Allen board.
Yeah.
Is it the black and green one or the red and blue one? Because there was 2. It was like a maroon.
I have
and blue.
the light blue and maroon one.
That one's sick, but then there's also the black and green.
Yeah.
Because I think it was skyline. 2 years in a row they did that graphic.
I love those.
It's probably the only time in snow skating that 2 years the same graphic was warranted.
Yeah. Honestly. So
I think my answer has to be Phil Moreau's maple syrup board from, I think it was 2016, 2017. Such a sick board. Thank you, Zach. This is why we have you on the podcast. No, I'm joking. 90% joking. No, that's such a sick board. I'm so stoked on that. Honorable mention to Allen's Minneapolis board. Jensen's Tim Hortons ripoff graphic this year. I love that. And then Josh Oakes holding his cats in this year's lineup too. I think that's so cool. So stoked on that board. I wish I rode Josh's size. I mean, I can't go that small, unfortunately, or else I would have ridden that, no doubt. But alas, what can you do?
I like Josh's first board for Icon a lot too. It was like the purple one with the tree.
Oh yeah.
It was probably like 1011 model. That was
sick. That was a cool board.
Yeah. That is a cool board.
That was a cool graphic.
Yeah. Actually, that's funny. I was thinking about that board, thinking that I never rode one. which like maybe because like other people wanted to, and I would take like my board. No one wanted to ride it, so I just ride it. Everyone wanted Josh's. But
yeah. I liked your IPA model too.
Oh yeah, that was a good
That
one.
was a super cool board.
The beer graphic one. So when I saw that, it was like reminiscent of
that
the
is
Sebastian.
totally
and I was like,
a
this is a sick
throwback
homage,
to yeah. Oh, guaranteed. You made me think of. I think there are a couple boards that were actually. It was like Jason Borgsteed had one that I loved with Premier. That was huge. Yeah, and that was Nico Draws maybe.
Oh my bad, you're right.
But both of them had like there were two dope graphics, but they were huge. They were the full 36s, so you like could drool over the graphic, but you'd never get them. Did you have it?
I actually have it down. I have the Jason Borgstead downstairs. I'll send you a pic after.
Yeah, do it. We got to put it up on the screen.
Yeah, put it up.
Yeah, I will overlay it. I have one honorable mention too for the. I don't know whose model this is, Zach and Matt, and well, Andrew. Really, I'm gonna have to defer to all you guys. But the Shorties rip-off Premiere graphic of the Muska Pro model. I don't know whose board that was. I think it just said Premiere, but it was the same.
Team
board.
That was
a team board, but I don't
know. That was post a lot of people leaving. Like I think.
Oh, was it? Was that like 08 or something?
If I had to guess, it's like past our time. Is my guess. Maybe
kind of funny they made it that late. Like that would, in my head, it came out in like 2003 because that would have made the most sense, right? But I still think it's a sick graphic.
I can picture
it's funny
it
came out that late. Yeah, I can picture it too. I couldn't remember if it was like it said Premiere or somebody's name or whatever, but I still thought that was cool.
Yeah,
even though it was a Premiere, unfortunately.
Parody, man,
you got me stumped.
Got parody law on our side. That's what we got.
This is the first time Zach's ever been stumped. This is crazy.
I don't know what you're talking about, but if it was after like everyone had left, then that's probably why I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, probably.
I think that's what it was.
2008, 2009 or later, something like that. Phil Moreau hit us with his barrage of questions on this story. These are actually pretty good questions. These aren't as goony questions. What do you think of HD videos with a 4:3 ratio like April Skateboards does? Matt?
Personally, I feel like well shot 16:9 is cool to me. I think I don't really crave the 4:3 because I kind of feel like most of our viewing experiences are now 16:9. So it's like you're just getting the most out of them there. So I do think it's cool. Like I get it. Like a more square aspect ratio is better. You get fewer clipped heads. But I think just because of our viewing, I'm going to go with because our viewing situation is mostly 16:9. I think well shot 16:9 is tight. Could be an outlier. What do y'all think?
I agree.
About the codec.
I don't think that's really needed if you're filming HD.
I have no opinion. As long as I can see the skating, I'm not tripping. I'm in a minority, but
I don't really care. I kind of like the artistic flair. I actually have something right here that I kind of was goofing around with this year. This is what I like to call the Alan Gerlach filter. I don't know if you can see it. Right here in it. But it's basically I hold it up to the camera and it basically is a pretend way to do a Super 8 shot.
It's so funny.
And like I like I mean, it's like I wouldn't watch a whole video of someone shooting in 4:3, but I mean, just for like an Instagram clip or like something like that, if it's I mean, it's kind of cool to get into those old formats. And I mean, I remember 411. I mean, I remember when stuff was like shot on that, like, but I don't know. It's make what you want with it, really. I'll watch it either way. So I don't know. It's not going to throw out someone's clip if it's in the wrong format or codec or something.
But I think consistency matters. And if you want to do your whole part, like I know some people have done their whole part as like Dave did a VX part, Josh has done a VX part. But I think sometimes when those are in the midst of other things, it feels that there's no cohesion, So I think doing varying is cool if you want to make a standalone part or something. But I also never feel like I'm left wanting from HD clips these days. But
Sure.
respect, I'm with Andrew too. I'll watch your part and 4x3.
Yeah, and I want to clarify my response as well. As long as it's done well and it fits the format, cool. Like if it's 16:9, you're chopping heads, no, then I'm gonna be bummed. But as long as you're filming proper with the format that you're presenting it in, fine. I don't really care. I'm indifferent.
I like that.
I think it's a cool idea though, just in principle. Like I don't consume enough skateboarding or really, know enough about skateboard filmmaking to have much of an opinion there. But I mean, I like the principle of combining, the theoretical best of both worlds in the HD 4x3. So I like the idea.
I understand why it's practical, kind of like how Matt said. So in regards to skating, but yeah, I'm right there with you. Keep it one format or the other. Just don't put the two together. That's my only big complaint.
Yeah. Phil Moreau again. Did you ever talk about snow skating with the Burton crew when you were working there? And what did they think of it? Second part is my addition to the question.
Initially, like right when I got hired, no. In fact, it was like, let's make sure this isn't a conflict of interest. Are you sure like you can do this? And I had to be like, yeah, I'll keep.
Wait. Do you want to talk about actually what you did for Burton, just to kind of like open up that
totally.
first and then go into it? Because I'd like to.
Totally.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I worked for Burton as a graphic designer. I'm a graphic designer. Just that's what I bring the creativity, the creative side to Icon, graphic design, video, all brand marketing, all that stuff. But like for my day job, I'm a graphic designer, mostly for brand and web. And so I did that for Burton in 2015 through like 2019, like start of 2019. So I was there for 4 years. And yeah, like initially people were like, oh, cool. Like you have this snowskate business. That's rad. You can obviously like, you understand the industry. But also there's obviously this concern of there being a conflict of interest. And so I had to like really try to keep that compartmentalized and make sure like no work suffered one for the other, so I was super cautious of it. And then I think a few years in, people like trusted that I was there for the right reasons and whatever. And like I was a good employee to both places. And we talk about it openly. People would be intrigued by it, like wondering, we talked about stuff, but nothing ever came to fruition. I think there was interest on their side. I think if they wanted to go that route, they could have, but I don't, every now and again, I'd like go to the shop, the prototype facility, and you'd see like a test board or like maybe a purchase board or whatever, like floating around. Like they've done their poking and prodding. I just don't think that's an avenue that they were gonna pursue.
They, I believe, made a snow skate at one point that elevated base.
They made a few.
Yeah.
They made Videx, the Junkyard. The Approach is the one you're probably thinking
Approach,
of. The rocking base on it.
And that was like what, 2000?
I want to say like 4, 5. Okay, maybe even older. Yeah, 3 maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a long time ago. Actually, recently, that's one thing I could have dug up. I found this like little Sean White kick flipping with like Burton Junkyard, all that whole line, and like a little pamphlet ad that I cut out and I have like in the next room.
Wow.
So I should grab that.
That was so cool to see.
Yeah. Do you remember, I don't know if anybody ever had this, like I've lost it, but there used to be a Snowskate magazine. There was like one issue of a Snowskate magazine.
Yes.
And it was like yay big, but I like wore it thin, just like flipping through it. But it was it was sick.
We're not talking about Starfish magazine, are we? Which used to come with like FS grip orders, something different.
Yeah. That was a Bideck magazine.
I remember Starfish, but there was something else. Like, I mean, dude, like I had to have been in freshman in high school, so that dates it to be like, or no, maybe earlier than that, maybe even middle school. So early 2000s, there was a little Snowskate magazine that I think only had one issue, but it was pretty nicely done. So like it had me drooling over it. It was better than Starfish. Like Starfish was rad, a little cool indie mag from the Northwest, but this was better. This had like way more promise for A, single decks, and B, just like it was better designed, but it just disappeared. And I don't have it anymore. That. So I would have loved to find out if anybody listening, I'm sure you're like super core if you're listening this far in. Let me know if you had that.
Please let us know. I want to know badly now.
Someone's got it. We'll see.
But to follow up on Phil's question, did you have like in-depth discussions with anybody at Burton about snow skating or about snow skate design?
Like nothing official. Like but I know people that cared about it, were curious. We'd talk about it for sure. But and I know people were probably more intrigued. Like some of the people I'm thinking of are probably more intrigued as they were thinking about a lot of the POW surf moves they're about to make and have made. Like right now, their POW surf for them is firing between, novelty wise, people are buying the back hill, like roped thing. And then they have two boards, the Resonator, which is a really, really high end POW surf. And what's the backseat drivers, like a pretty affordable but still pretty rad POW surf that a lot of people are riding. So I gotta imagine that was like the route that they chose to go. I think they saw an opportunity, and I think there totally is an opportunity for like outside of the mountain fun. But I think the reality is that dovetails more nicely into their program to do POW surfing and get off the lift access stuff and do POW surfing versus like learning a completely new sport like snow skating. That's the general sense of it that I get.
Sure.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Does make sense.
I have a question a little bit along the lines of that. Do you think any of them ever watched your footage or anything like that? Like you walk in the office one day and they're just like watching your part.
I don't know. I tried to keep it under lock and key
yeah.
I'll say we were talking about this, or like I actually wanted to bring this up with this. I'm probably so protective of it that nobody had seen it, to the point where now like expert and colleagues will hit me with a snow skate clip because they're like, oh, Matt likes snow skating. But I get really pissed off when they send shitty clips. Like snow skating is
fair.
Snow skating is getting like shown to the masses and is in the limelight more than it ever has been. But like maybe the right person, maybe it's a pro or am snowboarder, if they do a shitty shove it, I am going to get mad that you sent it to me. Like, because it just shows that you don't actually get what we can do. And
exactly.
So that's my gripe with it. It's like, it doesn't feel super good to see like subpar clips getting recognition. When it's
of course
dude,
not.
10 years ago, look what I was doing,
Exactly.
Like something we said almost 10 years ago,
And that's what someone like you, that's all you ever did was portray snow skating in a legit sense. So it sucks when like someone's showing you a clip like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So vent.
The other side of the coin is it may be a good thing that they never found it at the time. I was in a work happy hour about a month ago, and one of my coworkers found my YouTube channel and posted my 2010, 2011 part in the meeting chat. And I was like, God fucking damn it. Like, A, why are you posting this? And B, why that part? Like, God damn it.
Oh, yeah. I'll never forget the day I walked into my office and they were watching my skate parts. I'll never forget it. Into my cubicle, walking past their cubicles to mine. Zach, come here and see this. Oh, fuck. That's me skating. Okay.
It sucks, dude. It's not a good feeling. All right. Last listener question. Phil again. Would you rather do a 25 stairs rail or a flip trick down a 15? And if you don't, you have to eat 4 pineapples. Matt, 25 stairs or flip trick down to 15?
I'll go flip trick down 15.
I do the same. It'd be
Have you
buck,
done
but
it
it'd
all
be
day?
so much better than 25 stair
What's
rail.
the biggest set that you've done a trick down?
I had a few sessions. I never landed it, but I had a few sessions on a 14.
Oh wow.
That's big.
So I've thought too, like ollieing 14 sucks because you're really, it's a long time in the air. Like it's actually it's a pretty good ollie. You have to be like, I almost would think, and I had started to dream that maybe I'd be better off flipping the board to be thinking about something all that way. And it might have gone better. So I've already kind of contemplated that. So yeah, I can go 15.
You know what's kind of shocking is the fact that 14 is still the highest stair count on a snow skate. It's never went above that to my knowledge. Unless
Right,
it's
like
when it happened out there.
Mitch did 14, right? Mitch Serbu.
I did 14 and so did Mitch. So that's still the highest stair, if I can recall.
Yeah. Flip trick or an ollie, Zach?
Just ollie. Just biggest stairs in general. Just ollie.
What about
Is yours the one in
15?
Munising?
That's a 14. That's a 13 in Munising. I ollied that too, but then I ollied the Sherbrooke 14.
Gotcha.
I always thought that was a 13 or a 15 in Sherbrooke. I was
What
wrong.
about that kickflip at the end of Enjoy the View, Matt? Was that on 11? 12?
It's 11. Yeah.
11? It's a big 11. It looks big.
Yeah, it's big and like really short run up too. So that's what was tough about that stair set. I'm trying to think if there was a time I was trying Burial Heel that. Burial Heel is my go-to. So I would probably, like, if I had to do something, even on 15, I'd probably maybe heel or Burial Heel, I would say.
Wow.
Let's see it.
Yeah. For Phil.
Love it. All right, let's take a quick break and then let's go into the not so rapid fire question list, or not so fire rapid question list.
Yeah.
I love its reincarnation.
All right, let's drop, boys. All right, we're back from the Zoom break. Let's jump into the not so fire rapid question list. First question for Matt. Snowskate setup. Board, grip layout, shoes, outerwear, any other details for when you go snow skating?
Definitely an Icon Core Cut 33. We kind of covered it before. I'm down with Tundra grip now. I've always been the kind of guy that doesn't really like get too fancy about my grip. I do pretty stock Tundra grip or pretty stock extreme grip layout, and I've always been good with it. I like, I skate Vans like MTEs, like I think the skate highs, and they're like passable. Nothing's ever like really done it for me, but they're fine. I'd probably opt for another, like just closer to my skate shoe than waterproof, because I'd rather just feel better board feel wise than feel dry, because I think even then you just never stay dry. I think right now I skate slip-on pros basically exclusively. I think they just did like a MTE slip-on thing, like maybe even high or something. I would love to get that.
It's a mid. I've been wanting to get that too. Like, I don't know if it has enough ankle support, and I don't know if I want to keep buying MTEs, but it looks like such a sick shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that might be what I should get next. But yeah, that's my stuff basically.
Can I ask you, what's your concave situation like?
Normal concave, like our true concave, the high one, the good one.
Mm-hmm.
Never question that. Like, I've been sold on that since the day we dreamt it up. It's pretty sick.
And the true concave construction, is that still plastic or is it foam?
It's plastic.
Plastic? Okay.
Yep. Cool. Yep.
And for outerwear, do you do anything like, are there any things that you do to like prepare for snow skating, or is it just standard like, pants and jacket, or what does that look like for you?
I mean, honestly, I like it to look as skate-like as possible. I try not to wear like too technical gear, you know, like I don't know. There's a balance of practicality and just wanting to make it feel casual and not feel like you're having to like dress up too much, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'll wear jeans or khakis, whatever I'm running, like, and not think much about it, basically.
Sure. Okay, cool. Favorite snow skater?
Josh Oakes.
Great answer.
This is my one simple answer, I think.
No one's going to question you on that answer.
Yeah.
Which skater or snow skater had the biggest influence on how you skate?
I went back because I feel like when I was most impressionable and when I wasn't like doing it on my own or like kind of dreaming up what I wanted to do and running with that. You have to kind of go back a little bit, but I think the people that like lit the fire under me were Kevin Erst. He sticks out for me. Like he was one of these dudes that like in a premiere video did like a, kickflip back lip down a little skate park hubba. And I was like just blown away. But then knowing that that's in the realm of possibility, that pushes me to like do that trick, like that next season, I remember just being like, oh, there's no way I'll ever do that. And then that next season I was able to, because that dude put it in the realm of possibility. I also think he's kind of an unsung hero as far as being like a really good skateboarder who is filming well and looking good style wise. So Kevin Erst is underrated. Justin Parsons too. In that era, that's like Turn It Out era, basically. So like 2004. He was doing some stuff that like motivated me to try harder, probably like starting to do 8-9 stair rails and stuff. Phil's on that list because also he in that era was like years ahead of where snow skating should have been. It took a really long time for people to catch up to Phil. And even now, like he still is just such a talent, like he just has something in him that's special. Kaylin and Kyle are on that list too. Both of them, I think, are just really good skateboarders who brought it to the snow, and that inspired me.
Yeah, a lot of good answers. Most talented snow skater on earth. I think I know the answer to this question already.
So, and then this is one that I was kind of coming up with this thing. I've heard about it in the coffee industry, and then I looked into it a little bit. They talk about third wave coffee. Has anybody ever heard of that?
No.
Third wave coffee is like the current wave of coffee that we're in, where like a lot of like bespoke roasters are like making really nice fresh coffee for like super discerning coffee drinkers, right? That's what we're in. Apparently they borrowed that term from feminism. Apparently there have been several waves of feminism. So I want to give some context to what I'm about to say. But basically I'm thinking there have been several waves of snow skating. And I think we're in the third wave of it. Okay. And I think first wave's kind of like pro snowboarders. Second wave's going to be your like Turn It Out era. Third wave's going to be now, and I'm saying second wave for me, best, like most talented snow skaters were Phil and Isaac, and third wave, I think it's Josh and Dave. I don't know if I could pick. I feel really hard. Like it's really hard for me not to say Alan there too, because he's also transcended both of those eras super well. So like he's in there, and he's just held his own. But he's also, I think I have it somewhere. Oh yeah, no, I did write it. This Alan's on his own planet is what I wrote.
True.
So.
No, yeah. That was a good answer. I thought you were just going to say Josh Oakes out of the gate, and I wouldn't have blamed you. But no, that was a very articulate, very good answer.
That wave analogy, that's such a great
very true
about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
we should start looking at things that way when we're talking about different eras of snow skating, because I think that makes sense. It's really hard to compare between eras, and I think that's a very, very, it's an accurate, it's a clean way to designate those eras.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the thing. You know, I'm also one of those people that got to live through it all. And like, you know, I think I've been in a different position through all of those waves. But I also find, sometimes I find it funny to think back and revere something that is in that first wave that's like totally silly now, but like then in that headspace, like it was significant, you know? So I think having the like vocabulary for it is pretty helpful.
Definitely. No, I 100% agree with you. Andrew, Zach, I think we need to adopt that for future podcasts and just will that into existence, because I think that's really valuable.
Nice.
Favorite trick to do?
I put varial heel.
Okay.
I also love front lips.
Yeah, varial heels are fun. Front lips are terrifying, but too good.
Yeah, I was just say front lip is a make or break trick.
It's a committing trick, but like I don't know. I feel like when you like you need confidence to do a front lip, you probably don't do it if you don't have full confidence. So nothing feels better than putting a front lip down.
Not much looks better either.
Yeah, they look awesome when people can do them right. It's such a pretty thing to look at.
There was this one clip that, dude, honestly, I'll spend time on YouTube looking for it. Like I front lipped this wooden rail at Midwest Open last time I went, which was like 2016. And I think Peter Jones filmed it. And
it was the one off the tree, right? Like it was like connected to it.
It's really hard because it was
that was insane.
Yeah. Anyway, I really want to find that clip, and I've like spent a chunk of time on YouTube on several occasions, like looking for it because I'm like want to get that buzz again. So if anybody has it, hit me with it.
I've never even seen the clip. I'm only talking about watching you do it in person. That's the only way I remember it. I think you did you 5-0 it too, or like tail press it? Or am I making that
sounds about. I mean, frontside grinds are my move, so I probably would have run through that. Yeah. But front lip was the one to me. I think I might have done it at a good time. It came out good. Like I know front lip was what I took away from that session.
Yeah. And that obstacle's gone now. It was a gnarly obstacle. I don't know if you remember it, Eric or Andrew, but
I do.
Because it's like the tree. So the front lips. One of the hardest things is to like not hit your tail before you go over, you know, and like you had to also like doubly do it late because you couldn't hit that tree either. Mm-hmm. It was wild.
I've seen that trick eat people. And I personally have never done one on a handrail on a snow skate. For that reason.
I'll do them like if I'm feeling good at like a skate park and like just down rails. I'll do front board. I'll do any day. Then I'll front 50, front Smith, and if I'm feeling good, I'll front lip. Yeah. That's like how I basically only do frontside tricks. But front lips, like if you're feeling good, do it.
And when it works, it feels great.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. It can go bad.
Yeah. That's gnarly. Gnarly. Favorite video and or favorite video part?
So I did do like kind of a first wave, like I kind of kept with it. I'd call it one I called Nostalgia Days. And I was like, I love Dream for the production quality at the time, which like now it sucks, but then it was cool to me. The fact that they were putting that production quality into a Snowskate video was rad. And then I love Turn It Out for just like lighting a fire under me. Then like, similarly, and we talked about this in the wet socks iteration of like my podcast thing, which was just like True Color also did that to me. like in another day, it lit a fire like, oh, this is what's possible. Like, so I think pretty highly of that. But also one that I thought of and watched a little bit of last night was the Jux doc. Someday Almost Every Day. I think that one's a little underrated. And especially nowadays, like I can get down with that because it's like going back in time with my homies, you know? So I love watching that. Modern stuff like Dave's solo feed part, amazing. Josh, I've got like, I don't know, I really like 60 Days and Encore for Josh, and those I have for me. So that's kind of a long-winded answer, and I couldn't commit to one thing, but
it's fair. It's more than fair. Last trick you learned?
You know, I haven't learned anything super new in a bit, so I was racking my brain for this one. But I did this like front board shove with like a body varial where I come around back to regular. So I kind of spin 270, and I did it on like a bench at the Icon Park, and I really love it. And I want to do it on a street clip someday because I think it's kind of cool.
That'd be sick.
So
super cool.
Yeah, it's just I think that's the last like kind of creative but also rad tricks that I've learned.
Yeah,
and that was years ago. Like it wasn't really that recent. So,
not related to anything, but have you skated fakie, Matt?
Yeah. Like
I just want to know.
Totally,
you would, Eric.
I have to know.
I did a fakie heel in my. I honestly think it was my. Let's see. It would have been my like first part, my ambition part, basically.
Oh wow! Okay.
So like 2004, 2003, 04, I did a fakie heel off like our backyard box or something. Okay. Ride on fakie and fakie heeled off. Otherwise, last time I did it was probably for like Go Snowskating Day, doing that all of the nollie fakie switch. And fakie's easy for me. I can't throw down to. I think you talked about this in Dave's part. Like all my fakie stuff has been with a drop in. I've never like had to like throw down or get, approach something fakie. That would be the tough part.
I've since kind of switched my stance on that. It is easier to throw down fakie than I thought. But still natural speed helps so much. Like if you're actually trying to do something technical, natural speed is key.
Do you do like, I totally learned when Dave said like he doesn't go straight to nollie, like he doesn't go straight to his foot on the nose, and he gets there like midway through the run up. Do you do that fakie?
I still haven't tried it. I've been meaning to, but I haven't skated a lot fakie since we've done that. Yeah, it makes sense. Like I get it. I've tried it on like flat and I was like, yeah, the principle of it makes perfect sense, but I just haven't really done it yet.
Yep.
I should.
That's what Eric, I wanted. I would like to try that.
You say this like since we last spoke, you figured something out. You're like, yeah, it's not so bad actually. What is the key? Did you figure something out when you throw down fakie not with natural speed? Like what is the...
Well, what I used to do was run and jump on it like super old school method just to get my feet set right. And then just try to balance, being regular, balance on my left foot and then only put foot on the tail or only put weight on my right foot on the tail when I needed to. But I realized it's actually easier both for speed and to get your feet right to actually throw down fakie. I basically run as crouched as I possibly can and then just like throw down and stay crouched. And I find that lets me keep my speed a little bit easier and get my feet right. So before, for whatever reason, when I was trying it like a year or two ago, throwing down fakie didn't work for me and I had to run and jump on it, but kind of figure out a way that worked now.
Tight. Yeah, I'd like to try it. I think something fakie would be a good Go Snowskate Day thing because it is not done enough. And I know I know, Eric, you're a huge proponent of it, and we'll probably.
I am. I'm shameless. I'm
you'll
so
get
shameless about it.
You'll get the clip. But,
I love it though. It's so much fun. And I think if people just take the time to do it, I mean, you don't have to learn that much new other than like being able to ride up to the obstacle. I mean, that's definitely the hardest part. Once you get there doing the trick, it's the same as regular.
Yeah.
People can do
I have
it.
a pretty good half cab heel. I really love half cab heels.
That would be so cool to see on a snow skate.
That would be pretty cool.
I haven't learned half cab heels or kick flips on a snow skate. I really want to do those. Be super fun. I think I got to get out of the MTEs though, so I can actually flip my board. But anyway, I'll save that for another podcast. Most illegal trick, Matt.
Any shove over 360.
Correct.
Yep.
And maybe
Great answer.
a lot of 360s too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Hardest trick for you personally?
Flat ground kickflips.
Interesting.
I can do, for whatever reason, mentally, like I can pop a good kickflip down a set or off a kicker. Like I swear it's just a different kickflip out of me. But flat ground, my kickflips suck, honestly.
Wow.
If you watch my trick tips for kickflips, like you'll literally see it. And it looks like, I don't know. For whatever reason, I have a shitty flat ground kickflip. I can heel flip a lot higher. But I also think there's a difference between my flat ground kickflip and any other spot that I do it. So who knows?
Interesting. I wonder if it's like a mental thing. Because like I know you have kickflips. Like you can do them.
Sure. Yeah. I just do low flat ground kickflips.
Very interesting. Huh.
I'd go as far as saying all flat ground snow skating is really fucking hard. I don't care what anyone says. If I go to a 3-stair, I can do all my tricks down it easier than I could do it on flat.
Definitely.
Yeah, maybe I'm being hard on myself, but I do think, because I think the difference is like I wouldn't be so hard on my flat ground heel flip, like I just pop them higher. I got them down, whatever it is.
I'm the same way.
Who knows?
The one trick that got away.
This is what I had that 14. I just wrote a couple big ollies, and 14 was what I was thinking about. But I also I was telling Andrew, I have one other during the break. I have one other little ollie that I wanted to do, and mostly a spot that I wanted to do something at. And it was like a 7 flat 5, and I may be off by a stair or two, but I actually think that's about right. And there was a bit that I was trying to ollie that it was big, and I was clipping, like I like it was truly like, can I even make this, Yeah,
that's huge.
But it, like, with the right conditions, like I think about that double set we did. I don't know if it was Wisconsin or Michigan. I think it was Wisconsin if I got it right, but the one I back one in
the 4
something
flat 4,
be said.
4 flat 4, yeah.
That was a big set, but in the most perfect snow I've ever skated in my life. So it was like the only time you could have done something like that. It was perfect. Like everything was set up for you. Perfect run up, like perfect snow, perfect conditions. If I had that at this other spot, I think stuff could go down. Sometimes you need stars to align.
Mm-hmm. I've said this before. I feel like snow skating is a lot of waiting around. For me, I'm like, can't do that spot today. The conditions aren't fast enough. Yeah, all the time.
Totally. Yeah.
Like right now in Minneapolis, we can't do anything because it rained. It's like, all right, it needs to melt, or we need another foot of snow, or I can't do anything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It sucks having to depend on conditions, but that's snow skating.
Looks like everyone got down at that session, that 4 flat 4. I mean, Phil with the kickflip.
Yeah.
Josh maybe did the front shove, you the back one. That's a good session.
The funny like part about that is Josh had the battle on that.
Oh yeah. Wow, that's
Josh landed that clip. He had the battle. Phil got his first, then I got mine. Actually pretty quick as things go. And Josh had the battle and was getting pretty frustrated. And he landed that trick, and the lights in that parking lot went out as he rode away. And the session would have been done. So
just like your Sava clip, Zach.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That looked like a pretty skinny back 180 to throw that trick around.
Yeah,
like confined.
It was narrow. It was narrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was.
That would have threw me off.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know what possessed me to do it. Like, I'm not sure, but it was cool. Actually, it's one of my favorite clips.
Yeah, turned out awesome. I love that clip.
Thanks, bud.
It's a 6 set. The best trick you've ever done that wasn't caught on film?
Oh, wasn't caught on film. I'll tell you, I don't think I have a inward heel on like footage that I like, but I know I've done some inward heels that have been okay. But then again, maybe it's just because I only have my memory to go by. But I swear it's been like one of those things where I've done some inward heels and I'm like, that would have been, and someone like fucked up recording or something. And I just, to the point where I don't know if I've ever even put them in my parts, you know, like I had one for something to be said that I didn't put in because it was bad. And yeah, I think there's an inward heel out there somewhere in the ether that I did. That was dope.
You know what's funny, Matt, is when I watched all your parts today, I watched them with my roommate and I was literally like, yeah, he pretty much could do every trick, but I've never really seen him inward.
That's
I literally
super
said that today. I was like, I'm sure he can do it, but I don't think he has any inwards.
Yeah. Yeah. I've done a couple, but you got to take my word for it.
I'm not doubting you one bit.
I love it. The trick you worked hardest to get?
That front shove, I think it's like second to last trick in my something to be said part. Front shove down that Marquette 10.
Harbor 10.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was one of those things where I felt so selfish because we were out there on a team trip and I was the one hogging the time and the like camera and whatever. And like, I know we could have been stacking tricks elsewhere. And I don't know, I had a battle. Basically, I like landed on that trick like second go and like bruised my heel a little bit doing it. And so I was like just a little bit messed up. Jeez. And then it was just a battle. And I remember being like, I don't know, it was total addiction where it was like, yeah, one more. And you just kept bargaining like, nah, I got to get one more. I got one more, you know? And I finally like rolled away and it was amazing. So yeah.
If it's any consolation, I bruised my heel on that same stair set the next year doing kickflip down it. And then Danny came through and did it instead.
Oh my gosh. That's a dope set. That's
it is. Set. It's just a drop though. It's a tall 10.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't you go through a battle of like losing that footage and like having to recover a hard drive or something too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like the fisheye clip got corrupted. And actually like it ended up being like that big a deal. But at the time, like it cost like $100 to repair it. I remember thinking like $100 to repair a clip was like a big deal to me at the time. And now it's like, whoa, like I guess that's how things work, relatively speaking, you know, but then it was like, oh, should I do it? Hope this works. And it did. Yeah. But I'll tell you though, like that clip got repaired, but I like pulled it up in Premiere recently and saw it glitch. And I was like, wow, this clip is like, has some shit going on in it.
Wow.
Might need to shell out another 100.
Oh, that's funny.
Or just film some new stuff, maybe. I don't know.
All right, let's take a quick break and then we'll wrap the question list. All right, we are back. Next question: favorite Snowskate community event, whether that's a trip or an event or anything else in the presence of multiple snow skaters.
I think I got probably two. I think my favorite was Barb Gazee in its day. Like there was a right year of that. Do you think this is funny, Zach? Do you not like it?
I have to bring up a story after this. And
all right.
Go ahead and do your thing, and then I have to bring this up.
There was one or 2 years of it where it just felt like a really cool contest being like on the right obstacles, because they, it was on the 9 with 2 down rails, and just like in a setting that I feel like was pretty, it felt like it was, snow skating was being shown in the right places to the right people. And I like that. I kind of hadn't felt that way since we were at X Games years ago, and even then that just didn't quite strike a chord. So I think it was hopeful. I was most hopeful at Barbagazee, but also, Midwest Open is a really rad grassroots event that's like rad for me. So to be at Phil's, especially the ones like in like his new Tigerton spot, was really cool to me. But that felt like a retreat for us, and like our, it felt like, like a vacation for all the homies. So that was rad too.
For sure. Yeah, Barbagazee was amazing. I mean, skating in front of like a legitimate crowd was such a wild feeling. Like I only got to go to one of those, but I mean, having a crowd like, I don't know, like 5 to 8 people deep or whatever it was watching you snow skate, it was such a crazy feeling.
I gotta bring this up because I only discovered it recently, and y'all get a laugh out of it. But I found like a Facebook message that was like, from somebody that I wasn't friends with. So it was just like caught in the ether, like pending or whatever. And it says, "Sorry, we don't know each other, but I was at Barbagazee this afternoon and I discovered Snowskate. Just amazing. You're my favorite men of the competition because you do this so good and you have always, always, always your pretty smile on your face.
Aww.
I spent an incredible afternoon. I watched the Snowskate competition. I don't really know why I send you this text, but I do. My English is not really good. Sorry. Bye." And that was
admirer.
and that was in like 2014 or something.
Crazy.
Sounds about right.
Which was pretty awesome. The fact that somebody dug me up or whatever and sent me that message is hilarious.
That is awesome. Is that linked? Did you get to actually see the person's account too?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I almost like sent her a text, be like, "Sorry, I was in the shower. What's up?"
My bad. Oh man. For the record, Matt, why I was laughing when you brought up Barbagazee, it was not about the competition at all. It's just that I had a flashback I hadn't thought about in years from that competition, or not so much that competition, but that evening when all the snow skaters had all stayed in that hotel. And I doubt you'll remember this, but I always just feel like I posed such a bad impression on you during this time, because maybe you do remember this, but that night we went out in Montreal, in the streets of Montreal, to this like weird open DIY art space where like Rob Provost and all those dudes, like they premiered like a snow skate video. I don't remember what it was anymore. Maybe like an awkward video even.
Yep.
And I was over it. I was pretty drunk and I was over it. And I was like, I'm just going to walk back to the hotel. And I had no idea where I was going. I walked around Montreal for like 2+ hours, just drunk, trying to find the hotel. It took forever. I finally get back to the hotel. And I can't get in anyone's room, but I know that you have a room there. So I remember like knocking on your door like profusely until you opened it, waking you up. Jared was in there too, I want to say.
Wow.
Waking you guys up and be like, "Dude, I'm sorry. Can I sleep in your room?" Like,
that's so funny.
Just like you were just like, "Yeah, it's cool, dude." And like I just went and like laid down until the morning.
Dude, I feel like that does sound. I didn't remember that at all. I mean, it sounds vaguely familiar now, but I actually think Blay hooked me up with that room, so it's all good. Apologize.
Well, yeah, it was like middle of the night, and I woke you guys up and didn't stay in my designated room. Anyways, I was like, "Fuck, they hate me."
No, all good. That's so funny.
Was that 2013 or 2014, Zach?
The one I'm referring to would have been 2012, 2013 year. So 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
God, the rail was 2 different colors. Was it yellow at that point? Is that I know they painted
Yeah.
it red at some point.
That was the yellow year, because I remember at that time too, Josh and Phil were skating those Evolve boards at that contest.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
Yeah, I remember Josh three flipped the 9-stair on the Evolve, and even then, like, just watching it, I was like, that's crazy. Like, that's a really good 3-flip. And then I rode an Evolve a couple years later, and I was like, that is insane that he was able to do that. And at least the year that I skated it, it was 2014, not skated an Evolve, but skated Barbic Z. Like, that 9-stair wasn't even that easy to skate. Like, you got some speed, but like it was like kind of salty. Like, it was not that easy to ride. And for Josh to 3-flip it on an Evolve is incredible.
Yeah.
Kind of salty is an understatement. The people who that had like organized the contest didn't understand, obviously, how snow skating works. So when they got to the spot that day to prep it for the competition, they just put salt on the stairs to get rid of all the ice. So I remember there just being literal piles until like we all got there and we're like, yo, we got to get all this salt off of here and like try to kind of redo it.
And even there was this little extension that they did with scaffolding, and there was a little transition. Like, it barely helped you. I mean, I don't know, even with that and being like pretty good at like hitting that right and like skating fast and throwing down as fast as you can, like, it was just barely enough speed to do that set.
Yeah. I didn't do the contest for that reason. I was like, there's not enough run up for this stair. I can't do anything on this.
Yeah, I remember being like barely able to clear the set and like not even comfortable enough to backboard the rail because like I just didn't have enough speed. I was like, I maybe could jump on this, but like I don't feel comfortable enough to even backboard it. Like, it was not that good.
And the audience was huge.
It was actually big. I might overlay this photo. I found a photo on Flickr like a couple of years after that of me doing this rocket heel flip down the stair set from some random person who uploaded it. Well, and there's like the crowd is so deep behind me and I'm just doing this horrible heel flip. It's so funny.
Yeah, that's the year that one of the like the camera outlets in Montreal was like the sponsor, and people were encouraged to go like shoot us, you know? So like,
oh really? I didn't know that part.
If I search like hashtag Matt Plays on Instagram, I'll find photos of me from Barbic Z that year of people like taking terrible photos. So that's how my fan found out who I was, I guess. I don't know. Somewhere along the lines.
Crazy. Yeah, I was just looking at like Barbic Z albums on Flickr back when that was a thing, and that's how I found that. But wow, I didn't know about that aspect of it. That's crazy.
Yeah, check it out.
Oh, I just pulled it up now. That's awesome.
Isn't that wild?
That's so
I'm going to check that out later.
That's so cool.
That's crazy. All right, moving on. Most underrated snow skater.
I did a 3-way tie. I don't think they're that underrated, but I just wanted to give them props because they didn't come up much for me in all my others. But Jensen, Danny, and Jeremy, I feel like all those dudes always like, I think they're kind of silent, under the radar, constantly killing it, consistent. Yep. Love their stuff. So
definitely
they get my shout.
For sure. Do you skate and snowboard too? We know you skateboard, but especially working for Burton, did you snowboard?
Yeah, I snowboard. Like I probably snowboard less than a lot of other people there for sure. Cause I like it all. I also like kind of considered myself like a designer first, snowboarder second when I was there too, you know, whereas some people are like, I'm a snowboarder. I'll do whatever job you give me as long as I can snowboard. So that was like my distinction. But yeah, like I snowboarded and like grew to love it and rode with people that I feel like treated it a cool way. And I learned a lot from them and can just like appreciate a turn in the singular and have fun doing that, you know, get to down to the basics, you know? But yeah, I think, skateboarding, snowboarding, snow skating all give me something different. You know, I feel like they all have their place. And like I approach them all super differently. You know, skateboarding, oftentimes I'm not going to do like trick selection. I'm just not going to do the same tricks as I do snow skating. You know, like I'm focused way more on flow and transition and super simple tricks skateboarding, and snow skating I'll get a little bit more technical, and I feel better about taking the risk to like push the sport a little bit.
Definitely.
Like snowboarding, I'm just having fun, you know, like enjoying that turn.
Yeah,
but I still have fun on side hits and like I still do stuff because that's just in my nature, you know.
For sure. Biggest bunt. Do you know what a bunt is?
You gotta hook. Like I feel like I've even listened through a couple episodes of you explaining it, but I need it once more. Talk to me.
Essentially, it's just like a false claim. Like, say you're claiming you're going to do a trick, maybe hyping it up, and then let's say you get to the spot and you just like don't even try it. It's just like a big claim, pretty much.
Yeah.
And that could be obviously when we pose this question, it doesn't have to be personal. It can be the biggest bunt you've ever witnessed, or it could even be yourself.
Yeah. Let's see.
It's a tough one.
That is tough. That's a tough one on the spot because that one's like, I don't know. I guess like, let me try to think of a time that I like came away empty-handed. Obviously, like did a lot. Maybe I'll go back to the submission, like kink rail, where like I went back for more with a helmet and did like just the bottom down. That's a bunt. Like, you know, like that's me like thinking I'm going to come back with a vengeance. And I just did like the bottom down portion of the rail. So that's going to be my bunt.
That's a good answer. Yeah. Best style.
Dave.
Okay.
I like Dave's style. I think he's super clean. I really enjoy watching his stuff.
Definitely. Worst bail snow skating. Is it not that triple kink?
I didn't actually. That's not what I wrote down.
Wow.
Because I clearly had blocked it out. Like it wasn't going to come up if y'all didn't bring it up. I did roll my ankle and like sprained it probably as bad as I've ever sprained it on this like 8 or 9 stair backboard years ago. And I was like trying to avoid nutting. So like put my feet down, you know, and rolled my ankle. And I don't know. I feel like I always have sprains are tough, you know, like I think sprains stick with you. And I can roll and re-roll that ankle. So that was bad in my book. And I like, even to this day, like, I don't know, I feel that a little bit. So I'm going with that, but my head might have a different opinion.
All right. Negative Nancy time. Worst style in snow skating.
I wrote like, there's some stuff that I've done that I find cringy. So I wrote me before I knew better or got pickier.
Okay.
And like, I think that can be a lot of stuff, you know, like
what era is that? Is that like beginning open season, Matt, or like what, when you think of that?
I mean, I could think of, I think a lot of, I don't have much stuff out. Even something to be said stuff I think's whack and I could do better and have gotten better at, like, it just, I haven't done, like, I haven't proven it. I haven't filmed anything. I think I've only matured with my style. So, but I think everybody's pretty self-critical and especially me. I can be proud of something to be said. Other stuff I think is more of what I'm talking about. But even then, I think I could do better, which is a good place to be. The great discontent.
Good and bad.
Worst trend in snow skating.
I want to put it on the record that the UP PJ pants were kooky.
That is so true.
Matt's coming after you, Zach.
That's the saltiest I've got. So
I
That's
agree.
good.
I'm not.
I agree.
I don't know what the fuck we were doing.
God, I got to make sure I get a clip in pajama pants this year.
I love
Just for the
too
throwback.
that I think one of my favorite parts of that whole story was when like I think Stefani had to like make a rule about it or something.
Yeah, he did in the filming guide.
So good.
So funny.
The treehouse.
Yeah. Yep.
I always
I
wanted to
wasn't
be a
even
part
in
of
there.
that.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it felt good. No, I'm kidding.
All right. Worst part about snow skating.
Slush kills.
True. Can't argue with that.
Straight up.
The last person that you want in the session. And you have to name a person, Matt.
Dude, I got no one. There's no one I don't want there, basically. But I will
that's putting
say
you on the
anybody
spot.
who
That's
doesn't
fair.
who doesn't fix their own fucked up run up. If you fuck up the run up, like fix it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Fully agree.
But so that's
Can I
like
add,
a variable.
Can I add 2 bonus questions at the end of this? I wish I would have brought up earlier. Did you ever have plans after something to be said to make another video of any sort, even if it was maybe montages, any kind of media? Because I felt like the media portion of Icon kind of dwindled after that, and you had riders at that time that were filming. Did you consider maybe, like, I just kind of want to know what happened at that point?
That's a good question. Like one that I will even need to like try to do some detective work. I don't know why we didn't, but like honestly, I don't remember like that next winter, like trying to like, I don't think I ever got like a clip or like fought for a clip the way we did for something to be said. That was the last time we were like really going for like stacking legitimate clips. I think the next time I legitimately tried to stack a clip was with Alan when I lived in Burlington. So in like 2015. So if something to be said was 2011, like the next time I was trying to like stack a real street clip was in 2015. It must have been honestly just like me getting a career, like starting my career. Like that's what it was. I think I got my job in the tech industry in Cambridge, Mass, like right after something to be said, kind of dove right into that, lived in the city, had nobody to snow skate with. I think that's where that came from. If I'm being honest, now that I'm like picking up the pieces in my mind. So yeah, and I think that's like kind of where I'm at now too. It's like I've got all the potential in the world to go do the trick, but I don't have someone that like is going to film and session with me. I could do it. I have the capacity. It's tricky. Like life has its way like that. And I think that's why I would be super eager to get in on a trip someday and like maybe, get spoiled a little bit and have a crew and have somebody who's filming, and I'd be down to film for the crew too. But that's kind of the thing I'm missing basically.
Yeah. So you're telling me there's no secret Matt Plays clips yet to be seen?
I'm telling you that. Yeah. There's nothing. There could be.
Yeah.
But there is none.
Okay. And my last question is, how's Jared doing? What's he up to? If we could get a little tidbit on him.
Yeah,
Obviously
he's
another
good.
snow skater I watched my whole life, so just curious.
Yeah. He actually, so he went to culinary school and was going to be, he went for baking and ended up being like a sous chef at like an Italian restaurant on Federal Hill in Providence, like doing cool things. But it didn't quite work. Like there was some friction there. And he kind of decided like in one fell swoop that he wanted to be a firefighter and really found his groove, and now totally is 100%. Like he did everything like so much training, so much like bullshit. And now he's like full-fledged firefighter. And I've never seen somebody like find their groove quite like he has with this. Like it really suits him. My dad was a firefighter and his dad, my grandpa before him, all in the same city. So he's kind of doing a legacy thing. But yeah, it's kind of weird that somebody could fit so well doing that. And like, he had never dreamt of it up until a couple of years ago, but now it's like his thing and it just works for him. So he's doing that. He's doing well. I know he just went snowboarding this weekend. I try to get him to skate with me. He doesn't skate, but he snowboards. I think he'd be fine. He'd hold his own, but yeah. If you can help me get him to skate or snow skate, I think he'd be more down to snow skate than skateboard for sure.
Man, I'd love to see it.
I would love to see it too. I think we need to send him this segment of the podcast and just get him hyped.
Yeah. DM.
I'd love to see it. Child prodigy right there. Probably the youngest dude on the premiere crew at the time. I mean, I really identified with him just because we were like the same age. So I was always super hyped on his footage growing up.
Yeah. I mean, he had some good stuff. I think I would love to hear more of that too. I think he'll be hyped to hear it as well. I'm sure there are more people like you out there too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just probably kids my age, watching that being like, that's, they could relate. So it was really cool to see that.
For sure.
But I'm glad he's doing his thing, That's awesome. Sounds like he really found his calling.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, like one of the dudes that wrote in for the write-in questions was his roommate. So I know they're paying at least a little bit of attention to this, which is cool to hear. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah, for real. Jared's a good dude. I always had really great interactions with him.
Hell yeah. Yeah, he actually recently texted me about like, let's try to get out to Midwest Open this year. I think that was maybe when it might have been a possibility.
That's awesome.
So, he's got a soft spot for it. Just got to bring it out from him.
Sick. Love that.
Both of us are due for some clips. So
that's
thanks
true.
for the encouragement. Thanks for bringing me on.
See him.
I don't got any.
Dude, thanks for coming on, Matt. We really appreciate it. Always great to hear from you. And I mean, yeah, all you did was send in a question box last week saying, hey, when can I jump on the podcast? I was like, hey, you're on. Let's go.
Ask and you shall receive. Yeah.
Yep. No, and we're super psyched to have you.
Riffing on everything too. I think we came up with some good ideas. I think Go Snowskating Day might be cooler because we had this conversation and, we got some cool stuff in the works.
Definitely. Absolutely. Looking forward to Go Snowskate Day. And yeah, very stoked to have you on the podcast, Matt. Any other shout outs or anything else you want to address before we end the podcast?
Thanks to mom and dad and Jared too, and all my homies and, everyone that's ever helped along the way. I think the whole crew of snow skating is super special. The fact that I've hung out with all of you for so many years and we've all shared this is pretty unique. I think that's actually becoming one of the coolest parts about all this is like the friend group that we've gained from it all. And that spans decades at this point. So it's pretty cool. And it's cool that it's still running and maybe growing even more. So yeah, thank you, snow skating.
And I want to throw this out there real quick. Last year, Matt had done a podcast with you guys under the Wet Sox. And if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. It's hands down my favorite one. It's very insightful and it's just really a really, really great listen. A lot about, Icon's story and your story with snow skating, a lot of, it's just your whole timeline. And for me, it was personally my favorite one. So for anyone who enjoyed this, they should absolutely go back and listen to that.
Sick. Yeah. If you want to occupy 5 hours of your time with me and hang out with us, then do that. No, it's good. I love all the content y'all are putting together. It's a treat. And I think it's cool that more than just me, we all get something out of it. So It's sick. Thank you 2 and 3 for doing it.
Well, thank you, Matt. Much appreciated. And if you're listening out there, thank you very much. Shout out to you for making it this far, and go Snowskate.